Costly tonight at 9 here on 89.7 GBH and the GBH app.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Browdy, ahead on the 11 o'clock hour of BPR, not live from the Boston Public Library, and we're sorry. Of course he knew about the girls, those words in reference to Donald Trump, and a 2019 email written by Jeffrey Epstein, the journalist Michael Wolff. It's part of a collection of damning emails House Democrats released, further linking Trump to the notorious sex trafficker of young girls. A nail in the coffin of the Trump presidency? Or will MAGA ignore this like all other bad news about their leader? Please call or text.
I'm Marjorie Egan, then it's Jared Bowen, host of The Culture Show on the big AI-generated country music smash hit, Walk My Walk. What does it mean that country music fans are willingly eating up this AI slop? That and other arts and culture headlines next on the 11 o'clock hour at BPR, GBH, and NEPM, not live from the Boston Public Library.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have released several emails from the estate of late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Some refer to President Trump and raise new questions about the extent of their relationship. One of them, apparently sent by Epstein in 2011, says Trump spent hours at Epstein's house with an alleged sex trafficking victim. NPR has not confirmed the veracity of these emails. Trump has denied having a meaningful relationship with Epstein. The House is expected to vote later today on a spending measure that could bring an end to the federal government shutdown. This is day 43. The Senate passed the measure earlier this week. If the House adopts it, it would go to President Trump for his signature. The shutdown continues to slow airline traffic. There are nearly 900 flight cancellations so far today, according to the site FlightAware.com. The U.S. Supreme Court is extending the time it has to make a decision on whether to require the federal government to pay full SNAP food benefits. That hold lasts through tomorrow. NPR's Jennifer Ludden reports this appears timed to allow Congress to vote on whether to end the shutdown.
The Trump administration had asked the High Court to block full food benefits after a lower court judge ordered them. The extended stay means states can still make only partial payments. The legal wrangling over the country's largest anti-hunger program has kept millions of people who rely on it in limbo. That could change soon as Congress votes on a deal to end the shutdown, which includes SNAP funding until next fall. Restoring that will be a relief not only to recipients, but also the retail stores where they spend their SNAP dollars and food pantries, which have struggled to meet a surge in demand. Jennifer Ludden, NPR News, Washington.
As President Trump has been pushing Republicans to redraw congressional lines before next year's midterm elections, strong reactions are coming into a Utah court ruling on Monday that goes the other way. From member station KUER, Martha Harris reports Republicans say the state judge overreached.
One of Utah's 4 congressional districts now favors Democrats. Emma Petty Adams is with Mormon Women for Ethical Government, which was part of the 2022 lawsuit prompting the new map.
At a time when politicians are rushing to gerrymander their states for political advantage all over the country, a cross-partisan group of Utah citizens are finally seeing the fruits of their persistence and years-long commitment to do the opposite.
But Republican leaders condemned the ruling, calling the map gerrymandered. This court ruling happens to come during a redistricting race to draw maps that could help their party keep control of Congress. For NPR News, I'm Martha Harris in Salt Lake City.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 360 points. The Nasdaq is down 130. It's NPR.
Good morning. With the latest from the GBH Newsroom, I'm Henry Santoro. The re-election of Boston Mayor Michelle Wu comes with a $43,000 pay raise to bring her salary up to $250,000 next year. And the Herald reports that Wu was not the only one getting a raise. Members of the Boston City Council will also receive pay increases to start off the new year. Their pay will jump from $103,500 to $125,000 this coming January. And a Salem, Mass. Woman has agreed to plead guilty to allegedly buying and selling body parts from Harvard Medical School's morgue. According to court filings from the late last month, Katrina McLean agreed to plead guilty to a charge of interstate transport of stolen goods. Under the agreement, she is set to admit to transporting stolen human remains across state lines between July and October of 2021. The Crimson reports that McLean has a shop in Peabody called Cat's Creepy Creations. It was raided by the FBI in March of 2023. Maximum penalties for interstate transports of stolen goods includes 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Her agreement heads off a trial against her, which was set to begin this month. No rest for the Boston Celtics after last night's loss to the 76ers. They're back on the home court tonight hosting Memphis. And today's the day that Rob Gronkowski signs a one-day contract with the Patriots so he can retire as one. It's 40 degrees in Boston right now. This is GBH News.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Lilly Endowment, a private foundation supporting NPR's coverage of religion and spirituality, and Jarl and Pamela Mohn, focusing on civil liberties, foster youth, public radio, and the arts.
He's Jim Browdy. I am Marjorie Eakin. You're listening to BPR and GBH and NEPM. We are live from Brighton. We apologize. Yet more technical issues today at the Boston Public Library. We're really, really sorry about it. We hope they're fixed soon. We're streaming, though, at youtube.com/GBH News. And we hope we'll be back in the library on Friday. The mayor's going to be with us, we hope, at the library on November 18th from noon to 1. And we certainly hope Yo-Yo Ma gets to be performing live at the library. That's November 19th. Hello again, Jim.
Hey, and by the way, you said how sorry we are. That not nearly as sorry as I am that somebody took my parking space.
That's right. Someone took your parking space.
Because I thought I wasn't going to be in Brighton.
Yeah, we came back a breakneck pace from the library, and we made it in time.
Nice, relaxing morning before the show. In any case, we're going to start today's show with your reaction to the new emails released this morning by Congressional Democrats from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, again calling into question Donald Trump's relationship with a convicted child sex offender, even more than the already released birthday note to Epstein from Trump alluding to their, quote, wonderful secrets. According to these emails, you just heard about them on the news, Epstein wrote back in 2011 to Ghislaine Maxwell that Trump spent hours at his house with a victim of sex trafficking. Epstein referred to Trump as, quote, a dog that has not barked. Those secrets are known. Epstein was convicted for trafficking minors for sex. Also known, he used to recruit girls from Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. One email from Epstein himself to author Michael Wolff says that Trump, quote, knew about the girls. So the lines are open at 877-301-8970. When Trump was campaigning for president, he said he would declassify the Epstein files relating to the Department of Justice investigation. Nearly a year into his presidency, we're relying on the opposition party and a woman who either will be sworn in today or was sworn in today, 2 months after she was elected in Arizona, to be the key vote. Are these new Epstein emails going to bring Trump to his knees, a nail in the coffin of an increasingly unpopular presidency, or will the MAGA crowd ignore anything that is bad news about their leader? The number is 877-301-8970. Jamie, this morning, our colleague, checked. This is incredible. Nothing about this in the Washington Examiner, which is a right-wing newspaper in Washington, the Daily Caller, Breitbart, One America News, and most importantly, nothing on Fox News. Now, let me tell you already.
It's all over Drudge. Drudge used to be a fan of
he's turned on
the GOP, but he has turned on Trump. Yeah.
Can I read to you, and we're obviously very interested in your feedback on this at 877-301-8970. Let me read you a couple of statements from sycophantic Republicans. Nancy Mace is a congresswoman who's running for governor of South Carolina. Capital letters tweeted, I am so sick of the fake news focusing on Trump and not Epstein victims. Well, by the way, and that's not a hell of a defense. And the reason that we can't focus more on this is because Nancy Mace's Republican Party in the House has blocked the release of the Epstein documents.
Yeah. And by the way, we have seen the family of Virginia Giuffre several times talking about her death and about her allegations about what went on at Jeffrey Epstein's.
But she doesn't accuse Trump of anything, but they're using the fact that Giuffre in her book, Nobody's Girl, doesn't mention Trump. There were hundreds and hundreds of other young women here. The fact that Trump had nothing to do with Giuffre is proof of nothing. Let me just get these out here because I knew there were going to be tortured explanations. Here's the House Oversight Committee, the Republican side of this. Democrats continue to carelessly cherry pick documents to generate clickbait that is not grounded in the facts. Well, what is not grounded in the facts? I mean, again, as we said a minute ago, we saw his, his 50th birthday book. Of course, that was a lie. The E. Jean Carroll verdict, where Trump is liable for sexual abuse, obviously that was a lie. So the 24 women, in addition to E. Jean Carroll, who accused him of sexual abuse, that was a lie.
Right.
Walking into the junior Miss Universe with the contestants half naked, that was a lie.
Where the contestants talked about how he was looking at them.
It is really, it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fairly clear that he knew all about this. And Jeffrey Epstein also said that Donald Trump could not have, and I don't view Jeffrey Epstein as a particularly reliable character, but he did claim that he could not have been thrown out of Mar-a-Lago as a member because he was never a member.
So, and by the way, I assume the next argument from the Trump sycophants who don't care about sexual abuse, rape, or any of those kinds of things is going to be that Epstein had an agenda. Why would Epstein write these? What agenda did he have? In 2011, for example,
or 2019.
Which was years before he was running for president.
Yeah, or in 2019, months before he himself was arrested, Epstein, that is, and brought back to court and wound up in prison for his crimes.
You know, it's one thing, in my opinion, I know it's hard to rate things, to be on the wrong side of a budget fight, even if the budgetary issue has deep impact on people in great need. How do these people live with themselves? How do they put out statements? And how do they purport to care so much about the sexual abuse and care about the Epstein thing when I hope, unless you only watch Fox News or One American News, I assume everybody listening knows the only reason the Epstein documents haven't been released is because Mike Johnson, little lapdog speaker, has refused to swear in the congresswoman from Arizona who would be the majority signature discharge petition requiring a vote to release all the Epstein documents. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Here's a MAGA guy texting.
What's
or
that?
Could be a girl, too.
Yeah.
Wow, nothing about anyone else, just President Trump. No Bill Clinton or any other high-ranking politicians. Biased. Your show's a joke.
By the way, can I agree with that? No, I want to agree that Democrats didn't release anything on the Democrats, and I'm of the opinion that the reason Joe Biden didn't release these documents is because there are documents mentioned there. But you know what, that MAGA texter, I'd love you to call MAGA texter at 877-301-897. That's whataboutism. Why don't you call us and tell us, talk about Donald Trump?
But it's not even whataboutism. As I've said a million times, when Bill Clinton was reelected, people didn't know about Monica Lewinsky. They knew about the woman up in New Hampshire. I was going to say Stormy Daniels, but that was Trump's girlfriend. Yeah, who was the woman that Bill Clinton had the 11-year affair with, the blonde?
I can't remember now.
Anyway, people knew about that, and that was when Hillary Clinton went on 60 Minutes, and that she wasn't like Tammy Wynette standing by her man. And so we knew about that incident. We did not know about Monica Lewinsky. We did not know about Juanita Broderick, the woman that I believe that said Bill Clinton raped her. We didn't know those things. The difference is we elected Donald Trump the first time with more than 20 women accusing him of sexual misconduct, and now I think we're up to how many? 24, 25. So that's the issue, that we know about these things right now when he is the president of the United States. That's the difference.
Most of the texts are about Clinton and other Democrats. And let us be clear, I know I speak for Marjorie on this. When the evidence is released about any Democrat, you will hear about it on this show. Marjorie and I have said repeatedly that Bill Clinton should not show his face at any event, that his time has come and gone, not because he's aged, but because of credible accusations about sexual misconduct. So stop with this, will you? I mean, the stuff that is out today is about Trump.
I guess you'd say,
confront that.
So I guess you would say, so Bill Clinton was a outrageous hound dog, raped a woman, and I think he did rape a woman, and I think he sexually assaulted other women. So, okay. So what is the next sentence? So we should ignore it if Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States
exactly
right
what
now,
the next sentence is.
I mean, I don't get what the point is. I don't think anybody's defending Bill Clinton here.
So the three people I just read texts of, I am begging any of the three of you to call the show at 877-301-8970. But in the meantime, let's go to Margot in Hancock, New Hampshire. Hi, Margot.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
So two things. One, we already know he was involved. We already know a lot of what he did. I don't think it's going to make a bit of difference to anyone on their side that this, if more evidence is released, I think it's just going to be, another little whisper in the night. And as far as bringing up past presidents who behaved badly, I think it's their way of just condoning the fact that they're ignoring this. They're saying, why should we make a big deal out of this? Other people did it. And, it's just all really frustrating, obviously, but it doesn't give me a lot of hope.
Can I tell you why you should have hope, Margot? I'm sorry to interrupt. Well, yeah. Marjorie shares your view that it'll have no impact on Trump.
I think you're absolutely
However,
right.
You know who I think it will have an impact on? The sycophantic Republican members of Congress who defend him. They don't have the same immunity from bad news that Donald Trump does. And I think the Nancy Maces of the world, the Comers, he's the chair of that oversight committee, all these people who said how deeply concerned they were about the Epstein files and how they want him out and then did nothing to release those files. Let's see how they...
Like J.D. Vance.
Like J.D. Vance. I think they're going to suffer come next November. And much more importantly, I think we owe it to these women to get out whatever we can. And I repeat, if there are major Democrats who have committed crimes, they should be outed, and they'll be outed here too. Margot, thanks for the call. Why do you think it'll have no impact like Margot and Trump? Because nothing does?
Because...
except the economy?
I think nothing's going to move the GOP members until they realize that Trump's association is hurting them. They didn't
learn that in New Jersey and Virginia and Pennsylvania and Georgia the other day?
I don't think so, because if they changed any of their activities, I don't think so. I think when they realize that, he threatens he's going to run a MAGA person against them. Well, until that threat loses its power, they're not going to do anything.
By the way,
Mike Johnson is like a complete ridiculous person now, and he just keeps being a ridiculous person. And I get really annoyed when even good interviewers like Jake Tapper let him get up there and lie and don't challenge him.
Virtually every texter, other than the MAGA ones who thinks it's a big nothing, agree with you that this will have no impact. I had forgotten about this. The Hollywood Access thing. Ken in Salem says, we knew he was grabbing him by the you-know-what before he was elected. Do you really think this is a coffin nail? That is a very good point, by the way. That one, in his own voice, so he couldn't deny. Of course, it was locker room talk, so it was perfectly fine, allegedly. We heard him say it. He couldn't say it didn't happen, yet he was elected. So maybe
the woman from People magazine that talked about how he shoved her up against the wall and stuck his tongue down her throat. I mean, none of these things seem to make a difference. I mean, we have a long history in the United States of America of disbelieving women who claim that they were sexually assaulted. We've done it for hundreds of years, and unfortunately, we still do it. Look how much it took to get Harvey Weinstein convicted.
Yeah, you're right.
And you had people, and you had women there that I remember the Fox News case with Roger Ailes. You had women there that said, well, he was always lovely to me. That assumes that every rapist rapes everybody. Every woman at Fox News is going to be sexually assaulted by Roger Ailes. Well, no, he picked and he chose who he was going to go after. And it's the same thing with Trump.
Can I just stay with that? That's a really important thing you said. I won't mention the context, but you did say that once to somebody when we're talking about an issue. And the fact that Harvey Weinstein or Donald Trump didn't rape or sexually assault that person surely does not mean they didn't rape or sexually assault another person.
Well, there was just not enough time in the day, Jim. You could only fit in so many sexual assaults between the meetings you had to go to and all these kinds of things. It was a bad joke they used to make about the Catholic Church thing, where these people that convicted, they were talking about hundreds of young children. And you said to yourself, when did these guys have time to say mass? They were so busy sexually assaulting all these altar boys. It was incredible.
You know, well, actually, let's take some calls. Paul in Situate, hi.
Hello, good morning.
Hi. And to you, too.
So my first reaction is this is just more proof of what we've already known for a long period of time. But the larger questions to me are twofold. One is, when are they going to dig a little deeper into the Acosta being appointed as the part of the administration?
I'm with you.
That's a good one.
First term. And what was the quid pro quo? I can't speak.
Quid pro quo. We know what you mean.
Quid pro quo that took place in that, because I think there's a smoking gun there that would clearly raise the issue a lot.
Can I be, before you continue, Paul, don't hang up. I just want to explain to people.
Yeah.
Acosta, who became Secretary of Labor for Trump in the first term, was the U.S. attorney who cut the sweetheart deal with Epstein, where this really light sentence, he was able to go to work during the day.
He was able to claim it was just prostitution.
Yeah. And so the question is, the problem, as I'm sure you know, Paul, is the Democrats don't have the right to call anybody to a hearing because they're in the minority. And for people who say having Democrats win a majority in the House next November is meaningless because all they can do is stop the worst of Trump except by executive order. That's not true. If they're in charge, they can hold hearings and do public education about anything, including, as you say, about what was the deal with Acosta. Was that a quid pro quo? I think that's a great point.
Here's a great
Paul,
text.
thank you.
Here's a great text. This will have no impact. We just watched American soldiers, veterans, go to soup kitchens while the president threw a Gatsby party and added marble to the bathroom. And we just had a Supreme Court, which is rather disgracefully, if you ask me, is allowing these SNAP benefits not to be reinstated. Now we're waiting until Thursday.
Yeah.
And the president doesn't want to reinstate the SNAP benefits. So that's a good point,
that nothing matters.
That you can say while you're doing the Gatsby party and taking Laura Ingraham on tours of the beautiful air conditioning system that you've just installed in the White House, and when you Marie Antoinette let them eat cake kind of attitude he has, doesn't seem to.
Well, can I tell you why I'm more optimistic than you and most of the texters?
Why?
Is his numbers have declined.
Big time.
They have declined both because of the horrible economic news and the juxtaposition of individual people's bad economic news with the Gatsbys and the gilded ballroom and that sort of thing. Maybe I'm naive. When you're vulnerable, and he's more vulnerable than he's ever been in office, I think more things stick to you. And I would really like to think that despite the tortured efforts by Republicans, some of this is going to matter.
When they smell blood in the water, they'll abandon him. But there's not enough blood in the water yet.
Well, that's probably true. Jonathan and Stowe, welcome. Hi. Thanks for the call.
Yes, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
To the person that texted regarding, being biased, why not just say, come on the air, we will call out, Bill, you're right. We shouldn't have blind allegiance. We should call it. But my question is, why not release them? And then they'll both be called out. Whoever's guilty will be called out.
I mean, the Democrats should have done both, is what you're saying today.
Well, I think you're right.
They should have, but I mean, and also, I mean, I'm always one that calls out money on both sides of the aisle, and that's why there's so much slack being thrown at the new mayor of New York. But my point is, just ask them for what reason would you not release them? Because even Marjorie Taylor Greene, the most partisan hack possible, obviously she's trying to turn her juxtaposition around, but even she, is concerned about the Epstein files and many other Republicans. So, just cut the argument. You're right. You should call it all. But for what reason? And if it came down to this when Democrats were in office and people were just blindly defending any Democrats, I would agree with them. But it's a different situation now because we have the files ready to be released. They weren't previously.
Jonathan, that was a fine call. Thank you for that. Bob from Norwood sort of responds, Bill Clinton and other Dems or Republicans who may be in the Epstein files are not currently the President of the United States. Isn't that the key point? I think that's a legitimate point. But having said that, to show that you really care about it, as some of the texters who didn't have the courage to call have suggested, is you have to be even-handed. If you really care about violent abuse of women, then you have to care about violent abuse of women by anybody, regardless of who they are and what their party affiliation is. That point that they're making happens to be true.
So a texter says, regarding Trump and Epstein, it won't matter. It will always be the economy, stupid. We need to focus like that, laser-like on that. And I guess I like to think better of my fellow Americans. So, yeah, the economy is a big deal. A depressing story in the front page of the Globe today that the middle class is shrinking down to next to nothing in Massachusetts because everything has become so expensive. You've either got a ton of money or you're broke. And that's always really important. But you like to think there is sort of there's a basic morality that, I don't mean to sound like Sister Claudia or anything, but there's a sort of morality here.
Didn't you think that the assault on democracy was going to matter in the election? And if you look at exit polls, you and I and three other people seem to care about that and nobody else.
Well, I think there's we kind of lost our way in many ways, and it's right across the country. I mean, the fact that all these billionaires just are falling in line behind them when they're billionaires is pretty. You think money buys you a certain amount of freedom, but I guess not. Catherine in Cambridge, thank you for calling.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, second-time caller. Really happy to talk with you guys.
Thank you very much.
I think none of this. I've been bewildered the whole time, and what I think is that there are more Americans that are moral than are not moral, but it comes down to elections. These people don't care about what Americans think because, well, let's put it this way: Election Truth Alliance just is suing Pennsylvania because they found anomalies in the election system on both Dominion and ES&S voting machines. Mm-hmm. The same patterns they found in Wisconsin and other swing states. So what I think is that the reason these people don't care is because they don't worry about elections. That's my opinion.
Meaning because they'll fix them, they'll rig them if they need to win them? Is that where you're going?
They will. That's what I'm saying. And it looks, there is evidence that 24 was rigged. Election Truth Alliance. Look them up.
Wait a minute. I'm not sure what Catherine was talking about. We know that.
Well, we've had other callers that say that the election was stolen from Harris. I've seen no compelling evidence
I think
at
the
all
voting
that was
machine
the case.
companies just won a massive, almost $1 billion lawsuit over claims about their
accuracy
machines being wrong.
Yeah.
Catherine. So
in any case, but you do agree with Catherine about your concern about the midterm elections being tainted as Donald Trump ends up sending military
Well, I think that's different than the machines not working.
I agree.
I think that's a different story. Anyway, we're going to keep talking about this for a while longer. You're listening to BPR and GBH and NEPM live from Brighton, and we apologize again to people that came to the library. More technical problems. We are streaming, though, at youtube.com/GBH News.
The environmental challenges heading into this year's climate summit are immense. But without the Paris Agreement 10 years ago, they'd be even worse.
Countries realized that addressing climate change is in their enlightened self-interest.
That was 10 years ago. Where does that promise stand now? Next time on The World.
This afternoon at 3, here on GBH News 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And The Box Center, presenting 'Twas the Night Before by Cirque du Soleil, an acrobatic retelling of a classic tale, returning to the Box Center Wang Theater for 27 performances, November 26th through December 14th. Tickets at boxcenter.org. And the Office of the Massachusetts State Treasurer. The Unclaimed Property Division is holding unclaimed funds. New properties are added often. To see if you have unclaimed money, you can visit findmassmoney.gov.
Welcome back to Boston Public Radio. on GBH and NEPM, Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy. We are live in Brighton, and we really do apologize, particularly with the really short notice this morning. We don't even know. I assume some people showed up, and to them we were forever apologetic. We hope to be back on Friday. We will let you know. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the Jeffrey Epstein files, new documents, new emails released today by Democrats in Congress, which are damning to the President of the United States. That would be Donald Trump. As far as we know, there's virtually no coverage in right-wing media, and those Republicans in Congress who have spoken out are essentially saying this is all fake news. I mean, I guess that's not a surprise. Marjorie likes to think there's a moral strain that goes through everybody, not everybody, a majority of people in this country, and I hope she's right. History would suggest, with this president at least, that strain doesn't apply to MAGA supporters.
Listen to this from Marie in Sherborne. Growing up in Queens, New York as a kid, we knew Donald was an arrogant buffoon, but he's definitely taken the arrogance to new heights. His violence against women is right on par with his mental violence, his verbal violence, his emotional violence, his financial violence against every ordinary American. You know, Marie, I'm glad you sent that, because where was he interviewed about? Was it on CBS? Was it 60 Minutes about showing the violence of some of the immigration enforcement? And he was asked about it. He said that they're not tough enough.
60 Minutes. It was Norah O'Donnell. Yeah. And
I thought, wow, most people seeing, women getting dragged or babies getting separated would not think that was good, but he thinks it's okay. Not to mention the fact that we're blowing up all these people on boats. What are you up to, like 50 people now?
I think it's 69.
Without evidence that they are, in fact, drug traffickers.
Well, we're actually going to talk. One of our greatest ally, the UK, is not even sharing intelligence with us anymore.
That's right. And even if they are drug traffickers, you just don't go into a neighborhood where there are drug traffickers and shoot them dead on the street. I mean, that's what happened with Duterte, remember, in the Philippines.
Of course.
You arrest them and put them on trial.
Do you say the economy is the best ever? He does. I mean, the answer, you're acting like he's a pathological liar who obviously, and this is not an excuse, it's just my analysis, has serious mental health issues. The problem is keep in mind, I know you all who love him are in denial about everything. A jury verdict, remember juries? A jury verdict in 2023 found that Trump sexually abused E. Jean Carroll, and as Marjorie has said about 10,000 times, if that same act was committed in Massachusetts, that's rape.
Right.
It's rape under Massachusetts law, the same set of facts. So while he didn't, quote, rape E. Jean Carroll under New York law, he raped her under Massachusetts law. Apparently that jury was all rigged and in the tank, too. There are only so many things that one human being can do for supporters of that human being to be in denial that he's that kind of person. This is who he is, friends, and it's time that moral people, whoever they are, call him out on it.
Oh, our staff double-checked. We're up to 75 deaths. It's just crazy.
Let's go to Sue in Westwood. Hi, Sue.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm calling because I do think it matters.
Oh, good.
That, so, I mean, I'm a moral person. I know you guys are too, but I really think that more and more MAGA are becoming disillusioned with him. They're losing their minds over his interview with Laura Ingraham because of the 600,000 Chinese H-1B visas, because there aren't enough good or strong enough Americans to take these places in universities. His influencers, MAGA influencers, are talking about that, and I think this is just another thing that people are going to say, well, I'm mad about that, I'm mad about this, everything costs more, so I do think it matters, and I hope that information is released no matter who is in the files.
That was pretty compelling and concise argument. I hope you're right. I want to be convinced. Sue, thanks for the call. Let me repeat what I said at the top of the show. I assume everybody knows this. Once the Congresswoman-elect could you guys check to see if...
here's Carol Levitt.
Could you see if the Congresswoman from Arizona has been sworn in yet by Mike Johnson? She said her first act was going to be to sign the discharge petition, which would bring it to a majority, forcing a vote which theoretically would pass, requiring the Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files. That would be significant. What did Levin say?
The Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Yeah. 877, and by the way, you know what Donald Trump's response was? She has beautiful lips. By the way, Google lips and Levitt and Trump, and the number of times the President of the United States, how old is she, 35?
I don't even think
she's
that old.
The number of times that a 79-year-old man has talked about a 30-something woman's lips who is a she's not a professional, she's horrible at her job, but who is the press secretary for the President of the United States.
I think in his estimation, she couldn't be better. She just gets up there and tells all these crazy things, too.
I agree. 877-301-8097. We have time for one more call. Just John and Gardner. Hey, quickly, John.
Hey, kids, I just wanted to make your day. You know what the upcoming liability in his world, in MAGA world, is going to be?
What?
When people, especially MAGA people, are feeling in their gut, if they're not already, about the economy and how it's affecting them personally when he's talking all this BS to Laura Ingraham and whoever else will listen that everything's great, the same mistake Biden made, right? When his supporters start getting it in their gut that he's full of crap on this, maybe we'll see some dents in his support. I hope that made your day, Marjorie. Have a good day, kids.
Thank you, John.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's almost like if you're diehard about this, it's like you're going down with the ship with him. If the ship does in fact go down, a lot of this is just, I think, hating liberals, not liking and thinking that people look down on you or something like that. I think that's what a lot of it's about.
By the way, more Levitt very quickly from CNN. This is a quote from the spokesperson for the president, who has great lips. These stories are nothing more than bad faith efforts to distract from President Trump's historic accomplishments, and any American with common sense sees right through this hoax and clear distraction from the government opening back up again.
Okay, we are all done with this for now. Coming up after a quick break, on top of the culture shows, Jared Bowen. This AI-created country music song is now topping the charts. Wow. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. You listen to BPR, GBH, and NEPM live from our Brighton Studios, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
I'm Jared Bowen. Coming up on The Culture Show, we explore the next chapter of a story that defined a generation. The Tony Award-winning play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child follows the all-grown-up wizard and his son Albus as they navigate family, friendship, and the weight of legacy. It's now on stage at Boston's Emerson Colonial Theater, and we're joined by the actors playing the on-stage father and son duo. That and more on The Culture Show today at 2 on GBH 89.7.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And SNH Construction, committed to building spaces that work and providing professional management to guide the process. Their podcast, Builder's Notebook, can be heard on all podcast platforms. shconstruction.com. And Rogers Fish Company, founded by Roger Berkowitz, offering an array of New England seafood and entrees shippable anywhere in the U.S. More at rogersfishcompany.com.
You're listening to BPR and GBH and NEPM. Jim Browder and Marjorie. Stop pulling my mic, Jared. Will you please? Jared's pulling my mic, Marjorie. Can you stop him?
They're connected to each other.
I know. I don't
it's
like
kind
that
of
at all.
a twin mic deal.
Now I'm in the middle of the room.
Well, okay,
how this is.
Star show. So, whoa, he just did it again. Marjorie Egan and Jim Browder are live in Brighton. And by the way, we can't say enough how sorry we are and what short notice we gave you. We didn't know until 9 o'clock today that we had studio issues down there. We're really sorry. The mayor will allegedly join us at the library on the 18th. We're pretty convinced we'll be fine by then. Yo-Yo Ma joins us the following day on the 19th. Mayor will on the 18th. I said that wrong. Joined now at the whatever we are by Jared Bowen, GBH News executive arts editor and host of The Culture Show, airs daily at 89.7 at 2 p.m. And for our friends in Western Mass, they can get their dose of Jared and Company Saturdays at 7 p.m. on 88.5 NEPM. Hello there, Jared.
It's good to be with you both.
Okay, let's start with some sound from Walk My Walk by Breaking Rust. I put this in quotations, an artist in quotations, that was created by artificial intelligence. Here it is.
Away.
You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long. You can hate my style.
We're doomed.
And then they have a picture of Breaking Rust, who
He's
looks like a
good-looking.
model out of, GQ.
Yeah, it's like they took all of the sexiest man alive People magazine covers and made this country artist because he's fake, and what we just heard is fake.
But it's huge. It's a big hit.
It's number one on digital sales this week on whoever rates those things. Number one.
Big on the country charts, 3 million streams on Spotify. So this is not our future. This is here. This is an AI-generated artist who has been put out into the world. As you say, he's got these sort of very testosterone-filled cowboy hats, scruff looks on his album.
Chiseled, very chiseled.
Very chiseled on his album cover. And
Few
then
days stubble.
Few days. Marjorie has spent a lot of time.
I did. He was impressive.
He is impressive.
Would have been more impressive if he were real.
But this is where we are right now. This is people. There's an artist, quote unquote, who has generated this figure, who has created this music that they can put out into the world, and I can absolutely already understand how this lives alongside all of the real people artists, all the real singers, the people like Miranda Lambert, who has been in front of Congress testifying about just this kind of thing.
Elton John's been outspoken, too. He's been fabulous
huge
on
too.
this. Yeah.
Europe is very big into this. Tennessee has actually been very big into this because they want to. The state has. They've already passed one act that doesn't allow AI to use the likeness or voices of
I
people.
didn't know that.
They have another act that was called the Elvis Act. They have the Train Act that no copyright laws exist right now for disclosing how they use AI to train on existing singers. So they're trying to basically ensure that the artistic integrity is preserved, but it's hard to do.
Can I in the articles I read, this aggravated me so much. There are a bunch of experts on AI that say if you listen carefully, you know right away that it's not. Sort of like, remember when people emailed me and said, why are you doing this Chinese police procedural? Why are you voicing this thing? Remember they?
Oh, that's right.
With
they
me.
stole Jim's voice.
Well, the bottom line is normal people, and I'm speaking to the alleged experts, normal people can't tell.
No.
When I turned this on this morning, even after I read the story, after a while, you're tapping your hand, it sounds like a human being singing a country song.
It's really funny you bring that up because I was listening to it this morning on Spotify on my phone, couldn't tell a difference, and I was actually glad that it played as long as it did just now because I thought with these great headphones in this studio, I can hear it. And listening this way, I could hear it's a little thin. You can hear some of the digital component, but that's But
that's only if you're looking for it. If someone says, "Is this AI or not?" Maybe experts can do. If you're just listening to music, you don't know.
Okay, so when Breaking Rust puts on his first concert, what will we be seeing at the concert? Some kind of hologram dancing across the stage?
Well, I think there will be something like that. And Marjorie, honestly, I think that there's a whole generation that's going to be fine with this. We're in the midst of this major, major change right now. Look at Tilly Norwood, the actress.
We talked about her,
surfaced, and how real she is, and how many people have gravitated to. I keep saying she. It's an it. How many people have gravitated to it, just like they will gravitate to it being Breaking Rust. I think we'll have an entire generation that grows up not necessarily knowing what live performance is.
Okay, let me try one more thing, but your whole imagination and the stories you create in your head about actors, or particularly songwriters, like a Bruce Springsteen or anybody else like that, or somebody who's John Baptiste, or his lovely marriage and all these things. You don't. It's ruined because there is no real life to these people.
Well, wait. Before you say that, did you see the Globe magazine 2 weeks ago about AI families for lonely people?
I did see that.
I mean,
I did see that. But
Jared is right. This is becoming accepted, and it's really sad and troubling, I should say.
I don't know.
Well, I guess maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic. Alongside what we have already. And there is absolute financial incentive for the record companies, for the movie companies, for the art galleries to have this in existence because they're not paying royalties. They're not paying to the estates after they die. Look how much money movie stars make, how much the recording artists make. Suddenly you don't have to pay any of that.
Yeah, I think I'm as troubled as Jared is. And again, let's go back to real people, you and me. I'm on this police procedural thing.
You are.
Sounded totally real. I assume they're making some money on it, not because of me, but because it was a good, exposing cop kind of show. If you're into that kind of, I think it's a nightmare. In any case, you should listen to it, you guys. What's the name of the song? It's called Walk My Walk.
Walk My Walk.
And see if you don't think that it sounds like a country singer who happens to be human. Norman Rockwell. I have to say this story is pretty great as far as I'm concerned. His estate. Tell us what is going on with, Norman Rockwell after the fact.
Well, people may have noticed, even if they're not following the Department of Homeland Security or ICE sites, just for news coverage, how the DHS has been using images of historic American painters, not even all American. Thomas Kincaid, I don't think he's American, right?
I don't know.
But they use people like Norman Rockwell, Thomas Kincaid, historic images to espouse American values. We're using lots of air quotes today. So, for instance, they've taken images, very historic Norman Rockwell images, subtitled "Protect Our American Way of Life, Defend Your Culture." Well, the Rockwell family, the descendants, have become very, very troubled by this, and about 10 of them have just signed a letter, and it includes his son, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, decrying the way in which the government is using his material to prop up their own political agenda right now, because they point out that Norman Rockwell, for all of the Americana that people associate with him and what it's like to be together as a family on Thanksgiving or Christmas or these bucolic views of places like Stockbridge, Massachusetts, he was somebody who was heavily invested in civil rights in his times. He's somebody who represented Ruby Bridges being escorted by police into her New Orleans classroom. He was the one who depicted the 4 freedoms, that we should have this freedom of speech and religion and freedom from want, a very appropriate conversation to have right now with the defunct SNAP benefits as they are. He depicted the murders in Mississippi during the civil rights era. So he was very much engaged, even walked away essentially from the Saturday Evening Post.
Yeah, he quit.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, because they wouldn't let you depict anybody who was black unless they were in a servile position. And he gave up his job, and which took obviously some courage on his part.
Oh, absolutely took courage. And so this is why many years after his main popularity, he's being reevaluated today for who he was as an artist, beyond being an illustrator, beyond being just the magazine cover guy who made people feel good.
There's a great Norman Rockwell Museum up in Stockbridge. That when I visited, I didn't know much about him either, and then there's a whole massive section including all his civil rights work, and you think, I did not know this.
Well, a lot of it, I remember, I didn't know it until I knew it. I didn't know it until I visited that museum, and you understand how much time he spent working in this. But this is unlike music rights, for instance, because we've talked about people like Elton John and others who have gone after the Trump campaign for the way they use their music during campaign and political rallies. You really can take images and just splash them out there if you're not making money for it. So this is why there's not a lawsuit necessarily associated with this. There would be if DHS was trying to sell these images with their accompanying text, but they're not doing this here. So this is why the families have to step out and say, just to be clear, this goes against the complete values of our father/grandfather.
I should know this, and I'm embarrassed I don't, but I know you two will. Did Rockwell ever paint a governor killing her dog? Because that, I assume, the family would allow Christy Nome at DHS to use. You don't know, obviously.
No, I think I do know that
he didn't
depict that, yeah.
Before we get to current...
My favorite story of the day.
You do it then.
I just love the story of the day of this 15-year-old from a Paris suburb who was visiting the Louvre with his parents, apparently, on the day of the theft at the Louvre, and his outfit is incredible. We're going to put up a picture.
Do we have a photo? Here it is.
Think
Everybody saw this picture, and I, like everybody else, assume this was a 20 or 30-something unbelievably cool-looking detective who was working with the Paris police to solve the $100 million theft at the Louvre, but it turns out he is not a 30-something detective at all.
Describe his outfit, Jared.
And for the people who didn't think what you thought, they also thought it was AI generated, because if you're not looking...
He looks AI generated.
That is a very good point.
Right. So for people who aren't on the YouTube stream, you have 3 French police officers leaning against the car, again, just after this theft has unfolded, and then you have this very, very dapper man. Speaking of the angular jaw, he's got his fedora, his umbrella, he's got his vest, his tie, his coat. He looks like somebody who has stepped out of a different era into this Louvre heist. So many people thought, did Hercule Poirot arrive on the scene within seconds to solve this heist mystery? But no, it's actually a man who happened to be there with his mom. Actually, she's in the background. He's 15, and he was going to the Louvre that day, so he had just asked the police officers why the museum was being closed. But this is how he dresses, because he loves old Hollywood. He loves the detectives like Hercule Poirot, and so he dresses for the occasion when he goes out, which I think is so special. You go to a museum, you dress up.
You know what the best comment?
He says, I love his quote. I like to.
You know what's great about that photo is we just talked about a country song which none of us knew. We knew, but could make out was AI. And it is. And you see that photograph, and as soon as you said what you said, Jarrett, it does look like he's superimposed, like he's airbrushed into the damn thing, or whatever the proper verb is. That looks like AI and isn't. And an AI song is and doesn't sound like it, meaning we are screwed, I think is the bottom line.
Can I just say one more thing about this? What this speaks about who, so we know who he is on the exterior. On the interior, he also loved this mystery. So even when he learned that he had started to go viral because everybody the world over was wondering who this dapper man was, he didn't step forward because he liked the mystery of it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty good. Okay,
I think he's got a great future, this kid.
Yes.
So David Leonard, the president of the Boston Public Library, joined us last week on the show, and one of the things he talked about was the library's America 250 Revolutionary exhibit. It's on display now through April. Here's David Leonard.
And rather than just memorialize a moment or moments in time 249 years ago, we chose to pick moments along that story that are different moments of revolution, rebellion, resistance.
So just so our listeners who went to the library and are aggravated that they lost out, Marjorie and I both intended to go see the exhibit today.
This morning we figured,
we're not there.
We figured I was going to see it last Friday, but I said no, it's okay. I can see it on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. We couldn't be there yesterday because it was closed because of Veterans Day. But I was going to look at it this morning and take it all in, and we didn't get a chance.
So you're our eyes and ears there,
but
Jared
I did take it in. This is a fabulous exhibition for many reasons and something I've never experienced before. So it's called Revolution 250 with an exclamation point, 250 years of art and activism in Boston. So it's in the McKim Special Exhibition Hall, which is this very ornate place in the library. Lots of, I believe it's marble, but gleaming stone surfaces. So you feel like you're entering into something huge. But this exhibition, 250 Years of Art and Activism, is hung on scaffolding and plywood. And so when you walk in, it smells fresh because you can smell that wood of the plywood. And this is exactly the point of this exhibition, is to show us that we are still in building a democracy, building being the key word. This is an evolution. It is still very much in progress. What shows you that more than scaffolding and plywood, and then to smell it? And so we see everything from this very, very majestic portrait of George Washington at Dorchester Heights, which normally hangs in some very other grand room, and it's high above, and he looks down. He's been brought closer to the surface, new conservation work. But it's also photographers who have been documenting protests throughout our 250 years, whether it's rights for women, for gay people, for labor. We see variations on the Boston Massacre that Crispus Attucks front and center. So it's all of these different interpretations of history, but also some of the history telling itself of Lafayette and Ben Franklin, and as I mentioned, George Washington. And it all comes together in a really, really remarkable and impactful way that you leave feeling very invigorated because you see that this just continues and there's energy behind it. And there are people who care about our country and who care about our democracy and who care about having a voice. And you see that in the busts of suffragists who are depicted here. It's a fabulous show for the show that you didn't get to see.
Well, we'll hopefully be back on Friday, and we can see it then, Jim.
Well, I can say with some certainty I can be better. We'll either definitely be back or not. That's pretty much how we approach our time at the library there. So,
all right, tell us about what's going on at the Armenian Museum in Watertown. This sounds great.
Well, this is also very new too. Something I also have not experienced. This is why. Experimentation, but at the Armenian Museum of America in Watertown through February 28th, you'll find Serge Tankian, who is of System of a Down, the heavy metal band, and it's an exhibition called The Art of Disruption. So here you have this heavy metal frontman who is huge Grammy winner, hugely popular, but in his downtime, he's composing music for film, for television, and for his own paintings. So he's an abstract painter, and you find his works on view here, and he's also created an app. It's called Art Lupa that you take with you. You can download it before, as I did, go into the gallery, and as you're in front of each of his paintings, you just scan the painting, and up comes a composition. Actually, he's written most of the compositions prior, and the paintings meet this moment. So it's called Disruption because he wants people to have a full experience. It shouldn't just necessarily be the serene, quiet art looking, but he wants you to have this soundscape that he's created in addition to this visual scape that he's created on the canvas, which I think is very, very exciting. And I had him on the show. We've recorded an interview for an upcoming show, and he talks about the fact that he composes while painting, he paints while he composes. So even for him, the arts are completely intersected and they coalesce, and this is his way of demonstrating that. And it's very significant that it's at the Armenian Museum because he is of Armenian descent, grew up in Lebanon, Lebanon and grew up in Los Angeles. His bandmates are all Armenian, so he has been very vocal about drawing people's attention to the genocide and how violence persists in this world. And so all of that comes to the fore in this show.
Now, is it going to be really crass after you wax poetic if I talk about Armenian markets in Watertown?
No,
you go to the Armenian
really
markets,
great.
you guys, oh my God, the food is so... You've never been?
No.
Oh my God. Have you ever been?
I have.
Well, tell us. What's so great about
Just
it?
Armenian food is great.
Like
Armenian
what?
bread. We're going to talk to Tom Papa, who's a bread-obsessed kind of guy, in a couple of minutes. It is spectacular. It's affordable. It's right there on, what's the name? What's the main drag in...
Watertown.
Mount Auburn. No, Mount Auburn. Through Mount Auburn or whatever. You don't care about this at all. It's okay.
I do. I would
You
like
don't.
an example, though.
Can I say one more thing that also has nothing to do with our
What's
discussion?
so great about the bread?
It's great. It's a different kind of... Well, I'm not a food critic. I'm just telling... Why don't you go try it? It's cheap, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I have to admit I was not listening to Jared's last answer, because what I was doing... No offense to you.
None taken.
I was reading these GOP people, and I'm Googling to see if they have children, too, who are doing this fake news BS around these Epstein emails. I don't know how they live with themselves. How do you go home and talk to your kids when you're defending a guy? I mean, it's unbelievable to me.
I think there are threads to what we began talking about in this whole AI moment, and that argument can be made over and over again more reliably now, and people are actually going to believe it.
Listen,
I think people are going to believe nothing. That's what I think.
I think so,
because
too.
everything is when everything is AI, then you're going to have to do some work to find out what's not. And I mean, what do I know? But
well, we couldn't tell the truth between fact and fiction when there was no AI. So I would assume...
Because I think part of the reason that Fox News gets away with what it gets away with is I think people assume if it's on TV, it's got to be true. It's got to be close to the truth.
So is Laura Ingraham now hated because she had the audacity to actually ask Trump a real question the other night?
The reason they've stopped telling the truth on Fox News is because they were losing MAGA viewers.
That is
It was
correct.
all about money. They all knew the election wasn't stolen, despite what that woman said when she called up earlier. But they said it anyway, even though they were all texting each other, saying this is a bunch of baloney. testimony.
By the way, that woman wasn't arguing in support of Trump's rigged election in 2020 thing.
She was saying
they're going to try
this.
Saying that that's the tactic that the Republicans are going to use again in the midterms. I'm sorry I directed this away from your area of expertise.
No, because I think there are absolutely threads to it. So if you can't necessarily have trust in art and music and news, it was being said, put before you, where does this leave us? It's very
screwed is where it leaves us. Thank you. That's a legal term I learned when I was at NYU Law School.
Can I move your mic some more?
Screwed. We'll see you a little later. You can tell us what you're doing on the show.
We've been speaking with Jared Bowen, GBH News Executive Arts Editor and host of The Culture Show. Thank you, Jared. We say goodbye to those listening on NEPM. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you can tune in again at 3 o'clock, if not all between now and 3, for the fabulous 413. Our show continues here in Boston. Coming up after the news, we're going to talk to actor and comedian Tom Papa, he's going to zoom in. He's got a great show this weekend at the Wilbur, his Grateful Bread tour. We're going to hear all about that and a lot of other things about him. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. Listen to BPR and GBH and NEPM live from a Brighton studio, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We apologize again about the Boston Public Library.
It's not over yet. More smart conversation about community issues up ahead with Jim Browdy and Marjorie Egan on Boston Public Radio, right after a news update from NPR. Stay with us here on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And Cornerstone at Canton, an assisted living community with services designed to help seniors age in place, offering respite and trial stay options to help during recovery or when exploring new living arrangements. More at cornerstonecanton.com. Imagine a place where more than 280 people have defied Earth's gravity, risking their lives to do science 250 miles above us. Nova tells their remarkable stories on Operation Space Station tonight at 9 on GBH2.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Browdy, ahead on Hour 2 of BPR, not live from the Boston Public Library. You know him from Wait, Don't Tell Me, Joe Rogan, Stephen Colbert, his stint as a Food Network host for the show Baked, his Netflix specials. Comedian and bread lover Tom Papa is back in town this weekend as part of his Grateful Bread tour. He'll zoom in.
I'm Marjorie Egan. Then we meet with executive and artistic directors from the Boston Ballet to talk about their winter-spring season. And apparently, NBC 10 Boston thought it would be cool to send local woman Sue O'Connell to Canada. She's going to zoom in from Nova Scotia, where she's covering Mayor Wu's visit to the Great North to pick up the Christmas tree. It's all next on the 12 o'clock hour at BPR 89.7 GBH, not live from the Boston Public Library.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The White House is calling newly released emails tying President Donald Trump to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein a distraction from reopening the U.S. government. NPR's Stephen Fowler has details.
The three emails appear to show more of a connection between the president and Epstein, including a message from Epstein that said Trump, quote, knew about the girls, and another that said Trump spent hours at Epstein's house with a sex trafficking victim. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt sent a statement to NPR that reads in part, quote, these stories are nothing more than bad faith efforts to distract from President Trump's historic accomplishments. This, as the House is set to vote on a bill to reopen the government and will have enough members to advance a measure to release more Epstein files. Stephen Fowler, NPR News.
Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva says that one of her first actions when she's sworn in today will be to sign a petition to force a vote on a bill requiring the release of more Epstein emails. She won an election to fill the seat held by her late father, Congressman Raul Grijalva, 7 weeks ago. The U.S. House of Representatives reconvenes this hour. NPR's Claudia Grisales is monitoring.
House lawmakers will be back in town today for the first time since House Speaker Mike Johnson let them go home in September before the shutdown even began. The House Rules Committee met for more than 7 hours last night, and they moved this bill to the floor, and that sets the stage for a final vote later tonight. And as you will recall, this deal came together after a group of Senate Democrats broke ranks to vote with Republicans to end the government shutdown.
NPR's Claudia Grisales reporting. Much-loved Italian pasta could vanish from American supermarket shelves from January if the U.S. Commerce Department goes ahead with a decision to slap heavy duties on Italian pasta brands. NPR's Ruth Sherlock reports.
The Commerce Department is accusing major Italian pasta producers of anti-dumping practices. That's when a foreign company sells their goods at a cheaper rate than at home. The department threatens to impose duties which, when combined with recent new charges on European Union goods by the Trump administration, would push tariffs on Italian pasta to 107%. Anti-dumping probes are fairly routine, but Italian pasta companies say they have never resulted in such extraordinarily high duties. Italy's influential agribusiness association Coldiretti warns this barrier is so high that it would, quote, practically wipe out Italy's pasta exports to the United States. Ruth Sherlock, NPR News.
The Dow is up 331 points. This is NPR News.
Good afternoon. With the latest from the GBH Newsroom, I'm Henry Santoro. A Wellesley, Mass. teenager named Sammy Juma has created a website called My Snap Map. The site features a map that directs people to restaurants and small businesses who are offering free meals and other aid to those in need. Juma tells CBS News it's an interactive map that, at last count, has 115 places people can go to for free or heavily discounted meals. He adds that they're not corporations with large profit margins, but these are people who have their own bills to deal with as well. And each post links to another restaurant that inspired them, which creates a chain of generosity. Again, if you're in need, the site is mysnapmap.com. And it was a big night last night for Bruin David Pasternak, who scored his 400th goal as the Bruins beat the Maple Leafs.
Now the lead pass, moving in on Hildeby, scored! Pasternak, number 400!
Big night. That call on Sportsnet, final score was 5-3. The Bees are on the road tomorrow. They play the Ottawa Senators. And there's no rest for the Celtics after their loss last night to the 76ers. They're back on the parquet tonight at the Garden hosting Memphis. And today is the day Rob Gronkowski will sign a one-day contract. He's about to do it right now with the Patriots so he can retire a Patriot. 41 degrees in Boston. This is GBH News.
Support for NPR comes from BetterHelp, committed to making mental well-being a priority and offering support in taking on everything life demands, with therapists available to communicate via video, chat, or phone at betterhelp.com/public.
Welcome to hour number 2 of Boston Public Radio. Jim Braude and Marjorie Egan. We are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We apologize again. There were more technical problems at the library. We hope to be back there, on Friday. We want to mention again that the mayor is going to join us November 18th from noon to 1. We hope at the library. Yo-Yo Ma. The next day we'll be performing live. We hope again at the library. Hello again, Jim.
Hello again, Marjorie. Comedian, actor, radio host Tom Papa joins us now on Zoom, head of 2 shows this Saturday at the wonderful Wilbur on his Grateful Bread tour. The early show is sold out. You still get tickets for the later show at thewilbur.com. In addition to his public media forays on things like Wait, Don't Tell Me, he hosts the podcast and SiriusXM show Come to Papa. His most recent Netflix special, Home Free, came out last year, but is about the emotional roller coasters of empty nesting, which both Marjorie and I can relate to. Here's a clip.
We dropped off my last daughter, my last child, my youngest, off at college, and they're all gone now. And nobody tells you how hard it's going to be pretending to be sad. not one tear. I really thought I was going to cry. I feel so bad. But I think I might be happier than I've ever been.
Joining us to tell us if he's still happier than he's ever been is Tom Papa. Welcome back, Tom. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you, too. I think of you fondly.
Oh, well,
Why?
good.
Why would you think nobody else does? Why would you?
I always think about you guys. When I've come through the area, I've tried to get back to the studio and haven't been able to make it. And the things I remember the most was, Jim, you were standing. You were going through a standing phase. It looks like you're sitting now. And you swore that standing and doing radio was so much better. And then you also turned to me and said, "You're so busy. What exactly are you running from?"
Wow. What was your answer?
Wow.
I can't remember. What were you running from?
That was
Still
deep.
don't have the answer.
Okay.
Very deep conversation there. But on a much more important note, though, Tom, are you still happier than ever? You know, the few months have passed since more than a year, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Since the last child left the nest. How's it going?
Well, you always wish your best for your children, and everyone says that you should be proud that they're out there doing what they can do and making their way. Now I have to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that at least one of them lacks the skills to make it. Okay. Just to come home for like a 2-year refresher.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
really
that'd be really good.
Really great. It was, a lot of great comedians have done their stand-up specials there, so I was pretty excited to do that. And now I'm returning and we have 2 shows, so I'm very excited.
Well, tell us, that is not exactly a description of the show. You're doing the stand-up thing. You're back. What are you talking about?
Oh, you want to know what my material is?
Yeah,
No, we don't need to know in great detail.
We just need to know a general
Just
kind
give
of
us a little
framework.
hint, a taste.
Sort of. Very good, Jim. Taste.
Thank you.
I'm pretty much talking mostly about that the Times, as much as we think and like to think that the news is the thing that's adding to our stress and that we're so stressed out as people is because of the news, it's actually not true, and you're really stressed because you are a people. you are a human being, and I guarantee you if you turned everything off, you'll have more things happening in your own bathroom that will make you gnash your teeth and be upset with yourself.
Yeah.
Just your bathroom scale. Just your scale looking up at you and going, "Why aren't you standing on me?" Are you afraid of the truth?
Yeah.
You know all your shirts are tight. I can tell you why. Go ahead.
Why is he staring at me when he's saying that, by the way? Why are you looking at me so intimately? You know what it reminds me of? I was reading an interview with you, some Seattle. You were doing something in Seattle. And this line is emblazoned in my head. As you're talking about, you go to your phone, which we all do, even when we're on the air live, which is inexcusable. You're looking for some good news, and all it is bad news. And your line was something like, it's like all my friends have become Wolf Blitzer, which is really true, is you can't escape anywhere.
You can't. Even if you are dedicated and say, "That's it, I'm not doing it. I'm no phone, no computer, just leave me alone." Okay. And then my wife bursts through the office door with breaking news 5 times a day.
It's true. It's true.
And then when you get it, you want to spread it. When you get bad news, you want to tell people about it. So we're just in this endless loop of bad news reporting. I really can't find a way out of it.
So Grateful Bread is not going to be about bread cooking, which you love to do, or is it? Just to give us a little hint.
No, it's I'm a big bread baker.
Big bread baker.
And I think I was trying to get you bread at one point, if my memory serves me. And I really love baking, and it really kind of is just a joy. And whenever you can be around your family, and especially like when I'm home off tour, I know that I've been home for a while and have a good space because I'm able to crank out a lot of loaves to the point where I'm starting to bother my neighbors.
Am I right? One of your kids gave you your sourdough starter. Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That was her. I told the story. A friend of mine taught me what sourdough starter was, this living bacteria blob. And I was just telling them about it. And then for Christmas, my daughter on her own, she was like 13 or 14, got a sourdough starter started for me.
That's great.
And I always say that was my best acting role, was acting like I was excited to get this bowl of goo as my Christmas present. But then I quickly made bread off of it and I got hooked.
So I want to know, since you mentioned this in Home Free, now that the kids were gone, are you still microdosing and shoplifting?
My microdosing
laughter, yes,
has gone away. I don't microdose as much. It was kind of fun. But all these things. We're living in an era of like the snake oil salesman that you would see in old movies.
Mm-hmm.
The guy coming with his cart and all his magic potions. That's what Whole Foods has become. We have all these people saying you have to have lion's mane. Okay. I'll try it. And then you convince yourself it's good. And yeah, I do feel a little relaxed today. And then the next day you don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I find it all kind of silly.
You know, Marjorie changed the subject from bread. I'm not done with bread yet. And,
you're not.
I am a would you say I'm a B+ cook or a B cook?
I think you're a very good cook. I'd say you're an A- cook.
And the reason,
but I'm not much of a judge.
Well, that's true. Marjorie is arguably she's not a great cook. Let's be kind. But here's my self-analysis. Is one of the reasons I like cooking, Tom Papa, is not only because it's relaxing, but because it's imprecise. Meaning, if you screw up a little bit, for the most part, things can still work out. That's not the case with baking. You got to be really anal and precise to do the baking thing.
Know.
Is that so? What does that say about somebody who loves baking like you do?
Well, I have to say that bread baking is the sweet spot in between, which is why I think that you would really enjoy it, because it's not as precise as making pastries and cakes and those kind of things. And I was the same as you. I'm a cook and I love cooking, and it's, you go by feel and you get good at it and you kind of understand, but it's not precise. Bread, you have some precision, but there's a lot more room for error, and it's not even that it's error, it's that it rewards you for feel the same way that cooking does.
I love that expression.
So I think you really would enjoy it. I would definitely give it a try. See if there's a young person in your life that can give you a blob of goo and try it.
Well, to me, because I used to bake bread when I lived in California, because when you live in California, that's what you do. You have to bake bread, and the yeast rising and the punching it down and all that. It's a very physical.
I can't believe that's the story you tell him. Let me tell you the true story, Tom Papa, about
Don't
this.
tell the same story.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
okay,
God.
Marjorie worked
about the truth here.
She worked in an ashram when she was at Stanford. Is that correct? Yes or no?
I didn't work there. I spent a weekend there.
Okay, as I said, she worked in an ashram, and she is stoned one. Can I say you were stoned one night?
I was stoned.
Sure. Okay, she was stoned one night, and she ate enough bread for like 4 people before it had risen. And so what happened, Marjorie?
Well, that's true. That's true.
No.
He's got the story wrong. It was the place I lived at. We made our own bread
That's
in
close
the place
enough.
I lived at.
It's fine.
And you know how it is at midnight, you can smell all that bread cooking, and then it comes out of the oven. And if you eat it too quickly, it's still cooking inside your stomach. Right?
She thought she was going to explode. This is the worst storytelling I ever heard.
When it's still cooking inside your stomach? You know what I'm talking about, Tom.
Yeah, I do, but I've never experienced it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you should try.
You don't want to.
We're talking to Tom Papa, who, in addition to all the other wonderful things this guy does, will be at the Wilbur on Saturday. He's got 2 shows. The early show is sold out. The late one is not yet sold out, but tickets are moving. So go to thewilbur.com. Sorry, Marjorie.
So you've been on the man who decided the 2024 election, the show of Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience. What was that like? He's a talented guy, comedian guy.
Yeah, and he was a good friend, and I did the show a bunch, and then we had a show where he was going off about Fauci and the vaccines, and I wasn't even really making a huge argument. I just happened to be there on a day that there were some emails leaked in the news or something, and I became his straw man, and I started defending him and saying, I understand the need and the want to have one person to blame for all of this, but it's not a James Bond movie. It's actually more scary that it's chaotic and we don't really know, and it could kind of happen again. And that was the last time I saw him.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that part of the story, really.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because I liked him. He was a good guy. And I was definitely a COVID casualty. And haven't seen him in years.
What do you think the allure of Joe Rogan is? I mean, what does he have, 40 million people listen to the show every week or some such number? What's the allure of Joe Rogan in your estimation, Tom Papa?
He's very good interviewer. But he also, I think in a time, I think his master stroke was doing shows for 3 hours, letting things breathe, creating a space where you could come and hang out with whatever guest, a funny comedian, someone crazy, someone learned. And I really believe that it was the volume, the 3 hours, in a culture where, you watch Colbert and you get to see your favorite person for 5 minutes. This let it breathe, and it carved out some space that made people want to gather. Literally, it created like a physical space. And I think that was the master stroke. And then, of course, he has talent and is curious and asks a lot of good questions. But I do think it was in a fast-paced, insane world when we think like, oh, I've got to make this video shorter. You did the opposite, and you made something 3 hours, and people gravitated and filled that.
Speaking of wanting to gather, I watch much more comedy than I ever have because the world is such a disaster. Is that, am I typical in your estimation? Am I the audience that the Tom Papas of the world are playing to these days?
Yes, absolutely. I think that it's twofold. I think that part of it is an escape, and especially my fans, they know we're going to talk about more stuff about the human condition than we are about the news. So we're going to relate, and you're going to feel less alone when you leave because you're laughing alongside other people. And it's that part of it. But it's also getting together, just being physically in a place with other human beings. There's so few opportunities for that. And even the people who we all carry like the idea that we want community and we want all this stuff, but it's kind of absent in a way, and we're kind of trying to find it. And to sit in a theater with other people is really, you can tell. I mean, people are coming up and they're almost grateful that you just did a show and gave them a reason to come out.
Yeah.
Remember, we had a couple of weeks ago, we had Bob Putnam on, who wrote Bowling Alone, and that's a variation of essentially bowling together kind of thing. You know what brings people together in my life, Tom Papa? Hot dogs. And now, apparently, you have a thing. I really have a thing for hot dogs. Where are you on this issue?
We would be good friends. This is why I think about you when I'm on tour when I haven't seen you. There's something going on. We click in a way.
Yeah. Could be the food thing.
It is.
I'm a huge hot dog fan. I went crazy last summer, and with my producer, we had a little contest on how many hot dogs we could eat throughout the summer, and it became a little too competitive, and we ate too many, and I did burn out on it. But that's the good thing about the rhythm of the year. By the time June rolls around, I'm going to be fresh as a daisy and ready to go.
By the way, you probably don't, well, I shouldn't say you don't know this because you're a really smart guy. Did you ever see the University of Michigan study that Marjorie and I have quoted only about 10,000 times?
He talks about it.
That's
you lose a half hour of your life.
Right. And does that deter you at all? Does that slow you down or no?
Not at all, because I mean, what are those 30 minutes you're losing? They're not tonight. You're not going to lose it now. It's going to be at the end of your life when it's weird and scary.
Yes, right.
So I say in my act, so you're telling me with every hot dog I eat, I have 30 minutes less of sitting in a nursing home waiting for a stranger to change me?
Exactly.
Sounds to me like hot dogs are a superfood.
Can I ask you a question about how you do this? Because
yes, you may.
You come out on the stage and you talk for about an hour, right?
Yeah, a little more.
Yeah. So how do you not forget? How do you have subject A, subject B?
You talk for 3 hours every day, Marjorie.
Well, I have notes in front of me. I've got papers in front of me.
Yeah, I'm not saying this to be funny. It's a good question. I'm not saying it to be funny. It takes up a lot of room, and it's the main thing that I keep in my mind.
Yeah.
I forget a lot of other things. I forget about things I did with my friends and family. I forget about where I'm going next. There are a lot of details that don't get in there because I am thinking about the act all the time and trying to, because it's not just set, it's growing. You know, in a year from now, I'll record my next Netflix special. So it's a work in progress. So there's moving parts. So it's not only do I have to remember the jokes that I have, but it's also the new things and how am I going to squeeze those in. So I'm just a little bit of a comedy robot, and to be my friend, you just have to understand I may think that dinner was on Tuesday when you said Thursday.
Okay. But it's subject matter. I think like when you, the most recent one, the most recent Netflix one we talked about, Home Free, where you start out talking about your kids and then you end up talking about hot dogs. I think that was right near the end. So you have sections. You have the kids leaving home section and you have the hot dog section. And between that, you might have the shoplifting section. Is it in sections? Is that how you do it?
It is in sections.
That's what I figured.
It starts to break down in sections.
Yeah.
You want me? I'll read you some now.
Oh, please.
Here's all my sections.
Oh, my God. There are the sections. Can you read those, Jim?
He just showed us his phone.
Stressful humans, small town life, helping the poor,
donkeys. Ooh.
Why I need my wife. Families are weird. Moving back in with my parents.
Okay.
Family photos. So it goes like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, that's the order in which you go from donkeys to why you need your wife?
Yeah, I go from donkeys. Donkeys is about what you were saying earlier about how the news is so scary.
Yeah.
There's some scary news about donkeys.
There is?
How they kill more people than plane crashes and shark attacks combined.
They do not.
Yeah.
How do they kill them?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
And the scariest thing is I went on YouTube to look for the video evidence of it, and there's not one video, which is even more terrifying because that means they're doing it in disguise.
They're doing it in disguise. They're stampeding all over Los Angeles, running people over.
God.
And that becomes a thing about how all animals are coming to get us. And then I talk about how that's why it's important that you have animals in your life so they'll know you're an ally when they're come to eat you. And then I talk about how my dogs are all I have left, except for my wife, who's also there. But
Except for my wife.
And then I go into the wife.
Yeah. How are the dogs? Are the dogs still doing well?
The dogs are doing well.
Good, that's
They're
good.
doing well.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
See, I just think that the thing that's so scary about performing, I mean, I always talk about this with musicians. You know, if you have the music in front of you, then you have the music in front of you. But if you don't, then you have to, there can be that horrible moment, even if you're a very skilled performer, where you forget. And that's what I wonder when I've gone to comedy shows like yours where I've watched them. Because if you don't have the music, you're on a tightrope.
Yeah, can I respond rather than Tom for a second, then Tom can add it? Remember you would, Marjorie was a star columnist at the Boston Herald and the Boston Globe. And if she wrote a column and they edited a line out, she would call me in the morning and say, I can't believe they took a line out. And what I would always say is, nobody who read the column knew the line was there to begin with. So I'm not trying to say Tom Papa and what he does is easy, but no one knows what they're going to get until they get it, right?
Yeah, no, that is true. And yeah, you're exactly right. And then I'll come off and I'll say, oh, I can't believe I left out that donkey section. And my tour manager and my opening act will be like, oh, I didn't even notice. No one would know that but you. And I'm like, yeah, but I do know that. And I've failed.
So if you forget, you just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And then I'll try, as you're up there and you have these jokes tumbling out of your mouth, you are thinking and you're like, oh wait, can I get back to that? As I'm telling this other joke, I'm like thinking, oh yeah, and I think I can get back to that joke without them knowing. Let me try it, or just let it go. You're kind of, there's an internal conversation going on at the same time.
Can I give you a little advice? Under no circumstance should you ever let the donkey go. That's my opinion. Even if it's out of place.
It was a bad example. It was good. I never forget the donkey.
Who would?
Yeah. So can I ask you one more, like a trade question?
Yes,
when you're doing shows like this and you're away from home, is it fun, or it's fun while the show's going on, or is it lonely?
It's a lot of fun. It's pure. It's pure joy. It really is. It's I get to go. I'm with my tour manager and my opening act, who's a friend. And then literally those shows, and I sign books a lot after the shows. I'll do book signings and stuff, and you meet all these people. That experience of being on stage, relating back and forth, because it's a two-way conversation, and then meeting people. It's it's fantastic.
Oh,
I
good.
love home.
Oh, good.
I love being home. I really do. But I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm not tired of it.
Did you feel, Tom, you can be honest, did you feel Marjorie's questions were far too intimate, as I did? I thought they were far too personal. What do you think?
I felt like they were great. I love you guys, and I'm realizing during this interview why.
Oh.
Because you hit all the stuff of exactly what's wrong with both of us, Jim. Our problems are overeating, all that. And then you come in with the technical stuff, which other people never asked.
Marjorie's incredible.
Yeah,
it's a good balance. Is why you guys are great.
Well, you're very kind to say that, and I love your work and I love your shows, and I'm very excited to be talking to you today. Thank you so much
Tom,
for joining us.
Tom, it's great to see you again. Come back soon.
You too, and I'm glad you're sitting again.
Okay. We have been speaking with comedian actor Tom Papa. He is in town Saturday for 2 shows at the Wilbur. The early show is sold out, but you can still get tickets, and you will love it. For the later show at thewilbur.com. That's thewilbur.com for tickets to Tom's show. Coming up after this quick break, the leaders of the Boston Ballet join us to talk about their current production of Jules and, of course, the holiday favorite, The Nutcracker, and Boston Ballet in general. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. You're listening to BPR 89.7 GBH, live from Brighton.
The International Space Station has been orbiting Earth for 25 years now, and astronauts aboard have had to follow some key rules for staying alive in space.
You always have to respect the laws of physics and recognize that the laws of physics will always win.
I'm Scott Detrow. A new documentary tells the origins of the ISS on All Things Considered from NPR News.
Today at 4, here on GBH News 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Silligrams, a Boston area manufacturer working with businesses to create custom silicone products for corporate gifts and branded merchandise. Learn about their monogrammed ice trays and more online at silligrams.com. And Massachusetts Maritime Academy, where education meets transformation. Their Learn, Do, Lead philosophy is designed to deliver students prepared for global leadership in careers on land or at sea. Maritime.edu.
Welcome back to BPR. I'm Jim Browder. She's Marjorie Egan. We're live in Brighton, and we're apologizing yet again. We had technical issues at the library. We hope to be back there on Friday. We are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Next week, on Tuesday, Mayor Wu joins us for an hour at the library from noon to 1. The following day, the 19th, Yo-Yo Ma joins us and performs with us. Not with us, but he's performing. Let's put it that way. At the library on the 19th, we're confident that we will be back. Jewels have been in the news a lot these past couple of weeks with a blockbuster heist at the Louvre. We talked about that a few minutes ago. But right now, we're going to talk about a different set of jewels, the neoclassical ballet program highlighting the essence of emeralds, rubies, diamonds on production right now by the Boston Ballet. Nutcracker is soon to come. We'll talk about that too. More info and tickets at bostonballet.org. We're joined now in studio by Boston Ballet's executive director, Ming Min Hui. Ming, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Great, thanks.
And artistic director, Mikko Nissinen. And I should say, before we say hello, Boston Herald recently wrote about the Boston Ballet. The Boston Ballet is doing everything right. Maybe that's because the company is doing everything. Doesn't get much better than that. Ming and Mikko, it's great to have you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, doing everything is pretty impressive. What does that mean? What's happening? How can you possibly do it?
Well, we had taken the challenge of making a dance as relevant for today's people as possible. So we do the big classical ballets, big accent on the neoclassical ballet, and Jules is a perfect example of that. And then we have a huge commitment to contemporary dance because we want to be relevant for today's people and for today.
Before we talk more about the ballet, I watched you walk in today. And I assume most people know a lot about Mikko, and obviously he's a legendarily great dancer. You walk differently than mere mortals. Do you know that? Even walking into the studio, you walk differently than all the rest of us do. You know that, right?
Well, I wonder if it's me or is it my last 2 hip replacements.
Well, let me tell you, it looked pretty good to me.
He's not telling you the full story. We were at some event that we were doing a couple of years ago, and there were 2 dancers.
Two Russian
dancers from the Boston Ballet. And we were kind of stalking them. They were walking.
We were.
And we were walking behind them, and we were looking at them and thinking, they just have the most beautiful posture, the most beautiful way of walking, the most beautiful gait. And we figured that's because they're ballet dancers. So that's, besides the hips, that's part of it.
You walk pretty beautifully to me, at least.
I mean, your vertebrae in great shape. I mean, what is the deal?
Well, you know, the dancers they train and they elevate themselves, lift up all the time. So some elegance comes with that. And lots of attention to their body.
There's rarely elegance in the studio, but there was when you walked into the room. That's all I want to say. Who goes to the Boston Ballet?
So we're pretty happy about that answer because it feels increasingly like everybody, and that's our goal. So I think anybody who's coming to Jules right now will see it. The audiences are full of young people from all walks of life and across our Boston community. Different races, colors, creed. I mean, it's feeling really like a palace for the people.
And do you think that's because I know you've done a lot of outreach? You have this fabulous Boston Ballet School, which obviously reaches out to thousands of kids. Is it
hold on, it starts at 2 years old.
Yeah, 1.5. 16 months, and you can start.
What do you teach a 1.5-year-old? They just learn to walk.
Yeah, it's a lot of body awareness movement. They're tumbling. They're it's really fun.
But do you think that's part of why you've got the kind of mix I'm sure you've been dying to have there?
I think it's a multi-pronged matter. Definitely the school that we run is, I think, the biggest in the world, possibly. And it really is a cradle-to-grave kind of education model. We are inviting so many people into that program and to experience dance in their own bodies. I think that's a big part of it. We also spend a lot of time out in the community working with partners to bring people into the Opera House to see the dancing, even if they're not putting it on their own bodies. And all of these efforts, we think carefully about what's on stage, what's being represented, who our dancers are. It's really multifold in nature.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say it's related. We've talked to Mayor Wu much about Boston Family Days. You guys are part of this. And here she is at her 2025 State of the Commonwealth address talking about these expanded Boston Family Days. Here she is.
This year, we're adding Boston's revolutionary sites, as well as our leading performing arts institutions, Arts Emerson, the Bach Center, Wheelock Family Theater, the Huntington Theater, Boston Lyric Opera, Boston Symphony Orchestra, and the Boston Ballet.
Which is fabulous, I think. Why does this matter to you, doing this kind of thing?
Well, I believe dance is for everybody. And, dance is so natural throughout the human history. We've danced when there were births, when there were deaths, when there were celebrations. So I think everybody is a natural dancer because you have your heartbeat. There's your music. You take a couple of steps. There's a coordination. So it's just so essential of who we are, what we are. But I believe in a transformative power of dance because it can change lives. It can expose things within you or to you externally. And it's damn powerful.
How old were you in Finland when you started dancing, and why did you start?
I was a hyperactive kid around 10 years old who was very curious about the girls. And then it led me into my untamed perfectionism. I found a well deep enough to throw all that and more into it. So that was the initial thing. Then I got into profession super quick, and the theater, the magic of backstage, and that was so much more fascinating than anything in reality.
And how did you connect? You're not a dancer.
So I did dance, actually.
Did?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So I'm Mikko's business partner. So in many ways, I get to leave the real technicality and artistry to him. But I have a deep love for ballet as well. The story actually goes that when I was about 7 or 8, I was forced to learn piano, and I bargained very hard with my mother to convince her to let me switch from piano to ballet. That's how much I loved it. So I got on point and took it very seriously. As like an extracurricular matter. And so that comes very much into how I work with Mikko to this day. I care deeply about this art form. I love it. I believe deeply that it should be a public good.
We're talking to Mikko Nissinen, who's the artistic director of the Boston Ballet, and Ming Min Hui, who is the executive director of the Boston Ballet.
Mikko, we just mentioned Jules before. You mentioned it as well. Tell people a little bit about that, the ballet.
Well, right now, the Jules,
yes.
It's an ideal example of the brilliant neoclassical ballet. It's the George Balanchine naturally was the father of American ballet, and this is a epitome example of his brilliance. There's 3 pieces: Emeralds, sort of Parisian foray, American energy through Stravinsky's eyes and his brilliant choreography, very jazzy, pushes the edges and boundaries, and then last incredible Tchaikovsky at the end that represents his time in his homeland and when he was in St. Petersburg in Russia. So you get these contrasting things, but the brilliance of Balanchine and his innovative way of putting groups together, and he was a musician as well. So the innate musicality of the work just takes you for a journey that is delightful.
And the Nutcracker is on the horizon. I saw the Nutcracker in New York City. My father used to take all of us when I was a little kid. I saw it at your place a few years ago. Let's start with you, even though you're the business side of this. It does, for those who think, well, I've seen the Nutcracker, I've been there, I've done that, it continues to evolve in places like the Boston Ballet, right?
It does. I mean, Mikko is, this is Mikko's version of the Nutcracker that we perform annually. It is stunning.
How old were you when you first saw the Nutcracker?
But I'm like you. I saw it when I was very young in New York City. I grew up in Long Island.
I know that.
And then I performed in a local version of the Nutcracker.
Oh, you did?
I was in Snow and Flowers. I was in the floor.
Very good.
Our version was not nearly at the level of professional that Mikko's is. His is a world-class level production. But it gives me a lot of empathy for what the dancers do. It's a hard thing to do, so many productions, and to do it so beautifully and delight so many children and families across the community. And, Mikko is always paying attention to what's on stage, how we're representing things, and how are we just making this like an even better, more sparkly, delightful production.
How do you make it better, more sparkly, Mikko?
Well, like the fact that we do 46 performances of it, and, it
46, wow.
It is a gateway to our art form. So I made it very, very difficult technically so that the dancers are always on the edge, giving their best. For me, the Nutcracker run is almost like a sushi chef sharpening the knife for 6 weeks, because I know I have a tired company when it's New Year's, but I have a better company. And also, it's as a gateway to the art form. You asked, why Nutcracker? Should we experience Christmas once a lifetime or once every year? And Nutcracker's a little bit on the same lane.
Do people come? Keith Lockhart is here pretty regularly. We talk about the Christmas season with the Christmas pops, and when he's talking about the same people who've been there for years, now they're bringing their grandkids, and he beams when he says that kind of thing. One of the things he talks about that you guys are, I think, doing on December 5th, which is spectacular, is this sensory-friendly thing. And again, the Pops does it. Describe what that is.
Exactly.
That's fabulous.
And this goes hand in hand with this earlier question on why do we do Boston Family Days? What are we doing to make these audiences, more diverse and think about accessibility? So sensory-friendly is our answer to the idea that a theater experience is not necessarily one that works for everyone across various disabilities. If you have a sensory sensitivity, audio visuals disability, what are we doing to accommodate that? And so the Nutcracker is a thing that we know that it's a loved matter. 100,000 people see it every year, and it's truly an anchor experience. Then, and I think the lives of so many, and making an experience that then says you're not only welcome, you're centered in the audience, despite kind of things that might be challenging for you in a normal theater experience. That's really kind of our answer with sensory friendly and why we do
fabulous. December 5th, is that right?
It is December 5th. Yeah,
really
tickets are still available on bostonballet.org.
Talking to the leaders of the Boston Ballet.
Mikko, you mentioned hip replacements before, and I wonder about the toll. I mean, you're still a pretty young guy, but the toll on your body, is that having anything to do with the dancing, or is it just...
Oh, everything on the dancing.
Yeah.
It's like if you're 20 years professional dancer and the top level, that's a major career. And there's a couple body types that can push it a little bit further, but the wear and tear is just pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the other side of the coin, your body awareness, you knowing your body, and your body doesn't improve unless your mind and heart improve. So you go to work every day bettering yourself as a human being. There's so much beauty on it. I wouldn't change a thing.
You mentioned before that everybody can dance. Obviously, everybody's not going to be a top ballet dancer, but it's been my experience that everybody really can't dance.
Well, you know what? It's if people would let go loose a little bit more, with a very few exceptions.
Yeah.
Usually, it's the spouse who gets embarrassed. And then
Okay.
A couple of drinks helps too, Margaret.
Yeah, a couple of drinks helps
Are
too.
you a
That's right.
taskmaster? Are you a tough leader?
I'm tough but fair. I'm dead
is he
serious.
tough but fair? The fair part, is that true
I think
too?
tough but fair, yeah.
What does that mean?
Tough but empowering. Tough but wanting the best for people.
Well, explain it. What does that mean to you in your work?
Working with people, seeing their capability, assisting them coming to the next level, and then all these individuals to put their egos aside and work as a team for the common cause.
How many dancers are there?
We have right now 54 in the main company and 11 in the second company, and then.
And how many total people involved, from costumes to set? To,
oh my God, Boston Ballet, we are under, if part-time, full-time, hourly, we're a little short of 700.
It's your piece of the action, right?
Yeah. Got to get make payroll for 700 W2s.
How is business?
We're bigger than ever. We're now a $45 million operating budget organization.
Wow.
And it is expansive, right? It includes all of this activity we do educationally as well as in the Opera House. We are a major employer, a major piece of the economic story in Boston.
How are you financially?
We are doing the way I think you would probably expect of most arts organizations. We're hanging in there. We're watching the landscape of funding, of all the challenges that nonprofits are experiencing right now. I mean, we're sitting in the GBH studio, so this is something that I think is a widely shared concern across really the entire culture sector.
I don't mean to delve more deeply. Just one last thing.
Yeah.
Does the Nutcracker help support?
It does. It's a quarter of the operating budget, if you can believe it. It's an $11 million box office matter, the support of $44 million.
Well, I think it becomes a tradition for families that go
really
year after year after year.
Did you go when you were a little kid?
Absolutely.
When did you see it, Mikko, for the first time? How old were you?
My story is so weird with the Nutcracker because when I was in a ballet school in Finnish National Ballet, the company didn't have a Nutcracker.
Really?
Then I spent a year. I graduated from the Kira Ballet School in Russia, and I got to do my first Nutcracker role on the stage of the Mariinsky at the age of 17, and I started as a prince. So, I sort of like the gig from the start.
So you'd never seen it before you performed in it?
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So why does Russia produce so many great ballet dancers?
It was it's a very systematic education system, and it's like they pick from thousands and thousands of bodies, and fully government funded everything from academics, housing, food, and very severe selection process. And it's historically they produce incredible dancers. I have to say the rest of the world has caught up a lot.
They have.
And the dance has evolved. What was dance 50 years ago in our industry is very different.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the influences. There was a sort of one style companies. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you need to master so many things. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it even more exciting and even more relevant, more inclusive versus exclusive.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about, is that there was a piece from BostonBallet.org talking about the ballet company of the future. So what is the ballet company of the future?
Well, Mikko can probably answer that artistically for sure. That's definitely, I think, a lot of the core of what we mean by that. It's his vision of what the dance form should be and how we think about our repertoire. And even beyond that, we really expand that thesis into how we operate as a nonprofit, as an employer, as a member of the community that we serve. How are we constantly pushing ourselves to be incredibly relevant and innovative?
And what do you think artistically that means?
Well, it's interesting. Human nature hates change. The only thing is guaranteed in life is change. And it's like, while you curate the past, you live in today and pave the way to the future. So you have to know what is the temperature on the street, that our art form can be seen through fresh eyes. And all of us in today's world have been had so much exposure to so many things in life. Can you imagine that somebody shows you something you had no idea that existed, and it takes your breath when you fall in love yet one more time? That's when I'm a happy guy.
So how do you a couple of months ago when Chad Smith and Andres Nelsons were with us, I asked them how they got along. And I closely watched their body language because I knew what they're going to say, but I wanted to see if I felt they were really telling the truth. And they seemed to really like each other and get along. So I'm going to watch your body language. Ming, how do you get along?
Oh, Mikko and I go way back. So I've been executive director for 2.5 years, but I've been
were
with the
there
company
before, right?
for
Yeah.
11. Yeah. So I started as chief of staff and then was CFO and then subsequently in this role. So I've known Mikko for some time now. And I mean, Mikko is the reason I joined this company. I forsake the traditional paths coming out of Harvard Business School to join Boston Ballet, partially because it was Mikko's vision that was so compelling. And what a delightful thing it's been to figure out who he is, the man behind the vision. And he's a dear friend now.
Well, that seems honest. What do you think about her?
I'm the happiest guy, and I think the combination of artistic director, executive director relationship is the heart of the success of every organization. You win together. You will never, it's like a marriage, you have to make it work. And with Ming comes with such a brilliance, and I've had a blast working with her, and this is just the beginning.
That's convincing too, by the way. You both made very convincing arguments about your relationship, I want you to know.
Good.
So I'm glad it's as good as it is. We're thrilled to have you. We urge all people to patronize bostonballet.org. It's a wonderful organization with two great people atop. Great to see you both. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. And
Really
thank you
appreciate it.
for the change up to come here instead of the library. We
Our
appreciate
apologies
that.
for that,
We have been speaking with Boston Ballet's Executive Director Ming Min Hui and Artistic Director Mikko Nissinen. Tickets and more information at bostonballet.org. That's bostonballet.org.
We should say Jules through this weekend,
Yep.
and then the Nutcracker starts later this month. Right?
Okay. Coming up after this quick break, a dispatch from Canada from our intrepid media maven, local woman Sue O'Connell, is in Nova Scotia on a mission that's crucial to a lot of us. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. You're listening to BPR on 89.7 GBH live from Brighton and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
When you need more than just a headline.
Here in the U.S., the federal shutdown has left more than 9,000 staff of the National Park Service furloughed without pay.
Trust GBH News for the full picture.
Wildlife management, monitoring sharks in the water, restoration work in wetlands that have been degraded. None of that's happening right now.
Follow the story at GBH 89.7, online at gbhnews.org.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And Atlantic Design Center by Eldridge Lumber and Hardware, committed to helping you achieve your vision for a new kitchen or bathroom and guiding you from design to completion with showrooms in York and Portland, Maine. AtlanticDesignCTR.com. And Brown University pre-college programs, where academically motivated high school students experience college life, nurture their diverse interests, and make new friends. Applications for summer 2026 open January 14th. precollege.brown.edu.
Welcome back to BPR. Jim Browdy and Marjorie Egan live from Brighton. Again, apologies for the library. Streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Hope to be back in the library on Friday. Join on the line live from Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
NBC 10 media maven Sue O'Connell.
She's in her parka.
I have no idea. Well, I sort of do. Okay. Hi, Sue O'Connell. You look great. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm in Nova Scotia.
Why again?
Came from
We're up here, the team coverage, NBC 10 Boston, Matt Pritchard and myself. We were covering the gifting of the Boston tree from Halifax.
I love this.
The tree that's at the Boston Common every year is gifted to us from the fine folks of Halifax. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu up here, the first Boston mayor to come up to get the tree and receive the gift. And it's given to us because of our help in coordination in 1917, the Great Halifax Explosion, which killed almost 2,000 people.
Yeah, horrible.
It was a horrendous, horrific event. And interestingly, at the time, Canada and the United States were not allies. We were war allies during World War I. And that explosion and the horrific result, and Boston sending within 10 hours by train, nurses, doctors, all sorts of help, started the relationship that Canada and America kind of has right now. So we're up here covering it.
By the way, can I just say one thing, clarify? For those listening where it sounds like Sue's dentures are loose, she doesn't have dentures and they're not loose. It's a technical problem, just be clear.
So what are the mechanics? Does somebody go out when you're there with the mayor and with an axe and chop this baby down, or is it all wrapped up when you get there?
No, we're going to have the video. We went to a town called Lunenburg, which is right out of side of Halifax. And I have to tell you, I think we've been taking this gift of the tree for granted for so long. It is so moving. Many people in Halifax know someone, have a personal relationship to someone who either died or was injured by this, right? And this, the bond they feel to Boston is, fabulous. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. So every year, somebody donates a tree. So a couple who grew a tree donated this tree that's been growing for 40 years. So we went to their backyard in Lunenburg. There were school kids. There were officials, and Mayor Wu picked up a chainsaw.
Oh, my God.
And with the help of a local college, a university, a craft university, they cut the tree down with a chainsaw. It's hooked up to a huge crane, and then they lift it, comes down, and then they lift it and put it on the flatbed truck, which is going to make its way to Boston over the next week or so. It is, and I have to say, it was so moving about how much they cherish, what an honor it is to give us this tree in thanks for our ancestors' help in 1917. I was genuinely really moved by talking to the Canadians about how much this means to them, the folks in Halifax.
And you're going to have the video of her chopping down the tree on NBC 10,
Absolutely.
Right? Hey, Sue.
Yeah, Michelle Wu with a chainsaw. Who had it on their bingo card?
So I think we know the Canadians, for the most part, are not crazy about Americans right now. I'd say for pretty good reason. How are you and the mayor and the other Americans there being treated by our Canadian counterparts?
Well, first I will say they love Mayor Wu. They are cheering her when they see her on the street. The weather's been miserable. I stood next to a man who was about 80 years old who had no idea who she was. After she gave a speech at the tree gifting ceremony, he said, "Holy S, that's the future of the Democratic Party."
Oh, my God.
Wow. And the Canadians, I interviewed a number of businesses. My beat was to talk about business because 70% of Nova Scotia's trade is with North America. They send $27 billion back and forth over the border from Nova Scotia just to New England. So they are a major trade partner with us. And I think it's safe to say that the Canadians are disappointed in us. They are so polite. They are so nice. But they never expressed any direct anger. They're just disappointed and hope things get better. And the officials at the tree ceremony wanted to emphasize this is a personal relationship that should go above government. They are eternally grateful to us, but they are definitely Canadian angry at us.
I like that, Canadian angry.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Hey, may I ask you another question, speaking of the government? I think it was on Instagram, you went out interviewing people about the government shutdown.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised by some of the answers you got.
Do you want to hear a little bit of that?
We have sound.
We have a couple of seconds of it. Here's Sue doing exactly what Marjorie just said on NBC 10.
Do you know why the government shut down?
No.
No. Do you know why the government shut down?
Politics.
Do you know that the federal government is shut down?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know why?
No. That's so embarrassing. I don't know. Maybe Congress is in disagreement. Something about healthcare. Oh my God. Am I an uneducated American voter?
She sort of knew something about healthcare.
She sort of knew. I was surprised that she was really. I think she was the only person that really had the goods there.
45 seconds, Sue.
Yeah, listen, I think I said this the other day. I think this was a crucial mistake for the Democrats to cave because most people are not impacted by things like this.
Yeah.
And had we gotten to Thanksgiving where people are hungry, and I know that there's a personal cost here. I'm not being flippant. I'm just being quick. And airlines were delayed and all of that people would finally understand. I think the Democrats should have taken complete ownership, saying, yes, we're shutting down the government because this is what's going to happen if we don't. And just as the message was breaking through to people about what was going on, I think they caved. I mean, I know it has a long way to go, but from a negotiation standpoint, this is how people live.
Let me just say as you go, I'm really jealous that you're covering this tree cutting in Nova Scotia.
And I was in the rain too, Jim. It was like a weather hit. I know how you wanted to do one of those. So
I'm jealous for two reasons. Now, Sue, we're really glad you called in. Safe trip home. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sue O'Connell.
Check us all out on NBC 10 Boston.
We've been speaking with local woman, media maven Sue O'Connell live from Nova Scotia. Thank you very much, Sue, for joining us. We're going to see you again on Friday. Coming up at 1 o'clock on the news, after the 1 o'clock news, I should say, our national security expert, Juliette Kayyem, joins us to discuss the United Kingdom's decision to pause intel sharing with the United States over what we're doing with blowing up those boats in the Caribbean. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. We'll be right back.
Support GBH and unlock the best of NPR and PBS, all bundled in one. With the GBH Super Bundle, you'll get NPR Plus and GBH Passport. So give a little, get a lot in return. Learn more at gbh.org/superbundle.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And the Box Center, presenting 'Twas the Night Before by Cirque du Soleil, an acrobatic retelling of a classic tale, returning to the Box Center Wang Theater for 27 performances, November 26th through December 14th. Tickets at boxcenter.org. And the Office of the Massachusetts State Treasurer, the Unclaimed Property Division, is holding unclaimed funds from utility bills, uncashed paychecks, savings accounts, and more. To see if you have unclaimed money, you can visit findmassmoney.gov.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Browdy, ahead on Hour 3 of BPR, not live from the Boston Public Library. Truly sorry. Harvard's Juliette Kayyem is here in Brighton for the latest on these damning emails released today by House Democrats about Epstein and Trump. Plus, our closest ally, the UK, suspending intelligence sharing with the U.S. after strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean. And will flights be back to normal by Thanksgiving?
I'm Marjorie Egan, and finally we'll end the show with you and a topic near and dear to my heart, potatoes. The New York Times dares to ask, are potatoes healthy? Frankly, that is not the point. Phone and text lines are open. Our ode to the most delicious, most versatile dish to eat, second only to prune chicken. What's a potato mean to you? Yes, that's next on the third hour at BPR 89.7 GBH, not live from the Boston Public Library.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. Before the day's over, the U.S. House is expected to approve legislation to end the government shutdown. Now in its 43rd day. It was on Monday night the legislation cleared the Senate. NPR's Deirdre Walsh has the latest.
The Senate approved a bill that would fund most agencies through the end of January and include full-year funding for veterans programs and food assistance. Most Democrats criticized the deal for failing to address expiring health care subsidies. The top Senate Republican did pledge to hold a vote in December on a health care bill, but House Speaker Mike Johnson says he won't guarantee a House vote. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is urging fellow Democrats to vote no.
We're not going to support
partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
If the House approves the measure, it will head to the White House for the president's signature, ending the shutdown. Deirdre Walsh, NPR News, the Capitol.
The record-long government shutdown has left investors with delayed economic information. NPR's Scott Horsley has more on that.
The 6-week shutdown has been a drag on the U.S. economy. Congressional forecasters estimate it will shave about 1.5 percentage points off the annual growth rate in fourth quarter GDP. The government economists who tally GDP growth are among those furloughed by the shutdown. We're still waiting for a readout on third quarter economic growth that was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago. One of the first economic reports we are likely to see once the shutdown ends is the September jobs report. That was nearly finished when government number crunchers were told to stop working. Stock and computer chip maker AMD opened higher after the company offered a rosy sales forecast driven by the growth of AI data centers. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
The Israeli president's office says it's received a letter from President Trump urging a pardon for Benjamin Netanyahu in the prime minister's corruption trial. Netanyahu was indicted for allegedly receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gifts from businessmen. He denies any wrongdoing and has pleaded not guilty. NPR's Lauren Frere reports.
Here's part of what President Trump said in a speech to Israel's Knesset last month.
Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon?
Now, in a letter released by the Israeli president's office, Trump repeats that, writing, quote, "I hereby call on you to fully pardon Benjamin Netanyahu." He calls Netanyahu's prosecution political and unjustified. Israel's mostly ceremonial president does have the authority to pardon some criminals, but an official close to his office who isn't authorized to speak on the matter tells NPR you can't pardon someone who hasn't been convicted, and notes the Israeli president has urged Netanyahu and prosecutors to halt the trial and strike a deal. Lauren Frere, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
At last check on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 400 points. This is NPR News.
Good afternoon. With the latest from the GBH Newsroom, I'm Henry Santoro. A lawyer for an immigrant woman whose case went viral after her arrest by ICE in Fitchburg last week is speaking out following her release. A judge freed Juliana Milena Ojeda Montoya earlier this week, saying her due process rights were being violated. Montoya's arrest was documented in a video that circulated widely online. It shows ICE agents trying to pull her out of a vehicle while her husband appears to have a seizure. Her lawyer, Annalie Araujo, says that she's now back at home with her loved ones.
She is traumatized because of the occurrence during the arrest. It was a brutal arrest. She has been released through the order of a federal court judge, and at this time she's reunited with her baby daughter and her family.
The Department of Homeland Security says Montoya had been arrested by local police earlier this summer for allegedly stabbing a co-worker. She had pleaded not guilty. In the re-election of Boston Mayor Michelle Wu comes with a $43,000 pay raise to bring her salary up to $250,000 next year. The Herald reports that Wu is not the only one getting a raise. The members of the Boston City Council will also receive pay increases to start off the new year. Their pay will jump from $103,500 to $125,000 in January. Celtics and Memphis tonight at the Garden. Cloudy with showers and snow showers, maybe a little later today, high in the mid to upper 40s. This is GBH News.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive Insurance, where drivers can compare direct rates using Progressive's rate comparison tool. Customers can see options and rates side by side. More at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Welcome to hour number 3 of Boston Public Radio. Jim Browdy, Marjorie Egan. We are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Apologies once again for not being at the library. We had more technical problems. We hope we'll be back on Friday. We're joined... Hello again, Jim.
Hi again, Marjorie. And by the way, I can't believe you're not forward promoting and saying at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about Marjorie's favorite topic, the potato. Is that correct? Yes, we are.
Baked potato, to be specific.
No, we're going full potato.
Oh, full
not just
potato,
baked
okay.
potato. We're joined now in Brighton by Juliette Kayyem, who's former Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security under Barack Obama, faculty chair of the Homeland Security Program at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, and CNN Senior National Security Analyst. Hello, Juliette.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello in Brighton.
Brighton.
Well, we were talking about Epstein this morning. I think I want to sneeze, Jim.
Well, I don't want to get. Can we, before we get to Epstein, and it's to me the most important political story now, the most important story that affects real people. I naively assumed as soon as the shutdown was over, the planes go back to normal. Sean Flynn, the Secretary of Transportation,
Duffy.
said not so. Sean Duffy, I'm sorry, not so clear. We may even do the 10% reduction this Friday. I can't tell you how fast we're coming back. It depends on the air traffic controllers. What is going on?
So, assuming that the House votes and we get the system running again, you have a variety of problems that are still going to plague air traffic, and that is that air traffic controllers are also retiring during this period. I saw a number of somewhere from 6 to 8 a day. Which
During the shutdown?
Yeah, because I mean, basically, they're probably, if you were close to retirement, why are you going to play through this? So that's number one. So you're basically going to have a capacity issue, and you can't onboard air traffic controllers that quickly. There was talk of having military air traffic controllers moved over to civilian. That's not going to work. The system is way different. You don't want that. So you're going to have to decrease that way. Secondly, this is a complex logistical system in which things are moving around, and they are not at the place that you anticipated they would be when this all started. So with a 5 or 8% reduction, whatever we're going to feel in the next couple of days, plane A is no longer in place C. It's now in place B and possibly heading to place D. And so to flip on the switch for place C, which needs a plane, it doesn't work that way. So you're going to have to move lots of airplanes to up the capacity at these airports that are suffering. It's a nightmare. I had a direct flight Boston to DC and back, and I'm not blaming Logan, just 3.5 hour delay at Logan. The first day this hit, the return was easier, just a 45-minute delay. I thankfully am not taking a plane on Thanksgiving.
Well, what is your? I know it's hard to predict. What do you say to people who ask you, which I'm sure they do? I have plans Wednesday afternoon to fly to Topeka.
Oh, you still do it. You still monitor. Don't break plans yet. Anything can happen. Look, if this is signed in the next 2 to 3 days, there's a whole week to get this thing back up and moving. There's an incentive to get people moving by Thanksgiving by the industry, and if they can get the air traffic controllers, enough of them in place, it is safe. I am still confident, and maybe people will call me naive, that they're not going to play around with, we don't have enough air traffic controllers, and therefore, but we're going to keep at 100% capacity, because there's a lot of evidence that was may be responsible. I don't know if it's a direct line, but that Washington National was under stress when that airplane had the mid-air collision. So I don't think they're going to do that. But I recognize people's fear, annoyance, and all of it. And I there might be politics to this, but just keep yourself informed. It's the only way to do it, and take a book to the airport.
Can I ask one last question about this before we move on? Like many things that have been highlighted during the shutdown, the problems with air traffic control long preceded the shutdown. They're just exacerbated. Same with SNAP, same with almost everything. My understanding is there are thousands of air traffic controllers short from what they should be in an optimum situation. Is this going to scare people straight in authority to do something, or no?
Yes. I mean, I think that there is an aggressive move to get more people trained to be air traffic controllers, but it's a long process. Get people out of retirement if you can do it. You can't do it if people aren't getting paid. This is not the time in which recruiting for the air traffic controllers is appealing, any more than it is for the TSA.
Trump says the poor
I gave a TSA guy a hug. I was like, "How you doing?" He goes, I was like, gave him a hug.
But what Trump says, the guys that called in sick or they
should be fired.
Yeah, he's not happy with them. He's threatening.
The deal has anyone who was fired, which I don't think air traffic controllers were fired, would come back. But look, this is a complex ecosystem. air traffic controllers are the most important piece, but the network of people that surround and support them for transparency, awareness, safety, have also been impacted by this. So it's not a flip of the switch. This is and as I said before, airplanes are not at the destination they were or should be when we were at 100%. So all of that is going to have to get fixed as well.
We're talking to Juliette Kayyem.
Okay, so the United Kingdom. Are we going to skip Epstein?
Well, let's
talked
just
about it.
I know, but I'd be curious to know your quick.
Okay.
My takeaway from this morning is the right-wing news world is trying not to ignore this completely, and virtually everybody who was self-identified as MAGA, the texts that are called fake news. And how about Bill Clinton? And as we said at the time, if Bill Clinton is implicated when all the documents are released, then we're going to trash Bill Clinton for engaging in unconscionable behavior.
Yeah.
So what's your quick reaction to the release of these emails?
I apologize. I was looking for the quote. There's one email that really interests me. Yes, it was selective release. Yes, but all of the emails show a relationship between Epstein and Trump that various people were trying to either protect or manipulate. There's a email from Epstein as Trump is running during the first debate or during one of the debates when the question is sort of how would Trump answer
if a question came up. That was to Wolf,
Wolf, right?
Author,
so Michael Wolf, the author, replies back, "Let him hang himself." And then this is the interesting part to me. If he denies it, you have something over him. And that has always been my concern is it's not just does Epstein have something over him, whoever may know about the Epstein-Trump relationship and what Trump knew, Russians, a foreign intelligence agency, whoever, would also have something on Trump. I can't answer that question, but the fact that they're having an explicit conversation about some form of blackmail over the person who would be president of the United States and who's president of the United States again suggests that that there is knowledge or proof of Trump's knowledge of what was happening with Epstein. And as I've said before, what was happening at Mar-a-Lago, the fight between, just everyone remember, the fight between Epstein and Trump is a fight over girls at Mar-a-Lago. Trump admits that. Trump says, I got mad at him because he kept poaching my employees. And that's not your 63-year-old maitre d'. That's your 18 possibly, but close to 18-year-old hottie who then gets swept into this horror raid or horror environment with Epstein. So that's the piece I was looking at.
So,
by the way, before you start texting, criticizing Juliette for the term hottie, I think she was repeating that through the eyes of these men. This is one has to ask them. Thank you. I didn't
we learned that, we were reading some excerpts from Virginia Giuffre's book this morning. Giuffre's book this morning, and talked about how her father worked at Mar-a-Lago. He got her the job as a towel person when she was 16.
Yeah, and the father thinking he's doing her a favor, and then I think the reality is that Trump knew exactly who she was.
And the father's abusing her too, by the way. Yeah. This book, Nobody's Girl, I've just read excerpts.
It's devastating. I mean, this woman who is now no longer with us committed suicide at 41, took her own life at 41. She talked about being sexually abused at the time she was a very little girl.
And I think you're right about the Clinton or Democrats who were there. I mean, I'm at the let her rip stage of where this country is. And I mean, if they have stuff on Clinton, they have stuff on Clinton. Absolutely. I mean, the idea that this is like, we're going to protect Clinton and therefore, or we're going to protect Clinton by protecting Trump is ridiculous. No one who cares about what was going on with Epstein believes that.
Well, but this whole country is about protecting men who do bad things with women, whether it's prostitutes, whether it's a sex ring, whether it's child abuse. It's been a lifelong kind of thing. It's getting a little bit better, but not much. Anyway.
Protecting men who do bad things about boys, too, not just girls.
Boys and girls. Yes. Yeah, protecting men and their sexual exploitation, put it that way. So the United Kingdom
This is incredible.
won't share
Incredible story.
intelligence with us anymore because they believe that our attacks on these boats in the Caribbean are illegal, and they don't want to be complicit in what they're seeing as, I guess, murder.
Yes, they view it as extrajudicial killing as a euphemism for it. But I'm sure if you listen to them, alone in their rooms, they think it's a killing. So just to explain the system, there's a historic intelligence sharing apparatus known as Five Eyes, which includes 5 countries that are Western democracies that share intelligence across the globe, so that you have, especially because things like narco-terrorists are in waters and stuff like that. That's one of the most elevated, professional, until yesterday, untouchable networks of intelligence sharing, because lots of bad things are happening in this world, and you want your allies to feel confident in sharing the information. Information sharing with our allies has been under stress, both during Trump 1.0 and now, because they do worry about disclosures. You have a FBI director who's known to disclose things on Twitter. You have the head of ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you, who has a political sort of witch hunt attitude about intelligence. This is the first time I've seen where on a particular mission, the British are saying to us, we are sharing intelligence with you, which we believe you are using for unlawful purposes. We can't have our hands dirty, the fruit of the poisonous tree, and therefore we're going to stop that intelligence. That's bad in and of itself. It's also bad because there are narco-terrorists. There are people using our systems of transportation and flights and water and oceans to move back and forth between Europe and the United States to do harm to us and to Europe, and we won't have transparency on them in the Caribbean. That is the area where the British have said no more intelligence. I've never heard anything like this before.
Well, but when you think about it, it's so insane. We don't know who these people are.
Over 60 of them
in these boats. 75.
75. I'm sorry.
Today, and like I said before, even if they were narco-terrorists, I don't think the procedure in most lawful countries is just to go out and shoot them.
The general
or blow them
rule.
up.
The general rule.
You arrest them, don't you?
Yes. The general rule is that this kind of activity, which is generally drones, or not the general rule, the understood rule. I think the legal rule is, done in extreme circumstances when no other alternatives are available. So we could argue about terrorists hiding in Yemen or whatever. This situation is not true for 2 reasons. One is it does not appear there's been individual findings about the people on the boats, and we've certainly heard about potential mistakes. We've heard of family members at least giving evidence to reporters of who those people were, and in one case, when one of them survived, their country did not do charges. In other words, suggesting that this person was not a criminal. So that's first. There's no individualized finding that we're hearing of, nor that the Pentagon is releasing. The second is they're not proving that less lethal means are available. Normally how this works is if you think you see a boat, if we see a boat in the water, we have Coast Guard assets, we have Navy assets, and we have Allied assets. All the allies in Latin America have turned against us on this, who can extradite that boat. And that's worked for decades. So they've made no finding on either of those. So I don't. You could call it what you will. It's unlawful behavior at this stage.
But it's just so odd. And I'll shut up after this. But to think we're going out and blowing up people in boats in the Caribbean. Maybe they're narco-terrorists. Maybe they're not.
What's more unbelievable is that we're doing it. What's more unbelievable is there's not, except an occasional moment where a Republican is willing to say, I'm concerned. That guy from Oklahoma
has been good.
Has been pretty good, and he's a very serious conservative Republican. They are few and far between. It's unbelievable.
But isn't that just crazy?
And then Trump
and Susan Collins voted to not increase, I believed, to not increase surveillance. If somemen could check that, but I was
also,
surprised.
Can I say one more thing about this? Is you get the sense that when either Hegseth or Trump post these videos, it's like this macho bragging thing. Exactly. It appears like they won a game.
Yeah, and you have to remember, so that's one piece of it. We now have about, 12% of the Navy, including the world's largest.
It's unbelievable.
Largest
12%.
Destroyer, the Gerald R. Ford.
Now in the vicinity, no explanation of what they're doing there, no briefings to even classified
But we don't
briefings
give a
to
damn.
the Senate oversight.
Nobody
and
cares.
no one cares until you start bombing. And Trump has not has fluctuated over the last 2 weeks about whether he wants to go in, how he wants to go in. No, he doesn't want to go in. Fake news that people are saying wants to go in. All I know is no military puts that percentage of its assets around a small country without some intention, and it would be good to understand what that intention is.
Well, as my hero, Marjorie Taylor Greene, says, that is not America first. So can we, using the term complicit, this is another story that in normal times would get huge play. Reuters has this exclusive where they say United States intelligence people concluded that Israeli military, they were warned by Israeli military lawyers, there was as evidence of IDF war crimes in Gaza. And apparently the Biden administration, according to Reuters and the reporting, decided to keep it under wraps for fear that it would inhibit our ability to keep arming Israel and their fight against Hamas. Is that a fair description of what this reporting is?
Yeah, it is. So our understanding from
Look the other way is how they put it in the story.
Reuters did a terrific piece this weekend, which is posted on my feed about a finding by us, we assume an intelligence finding, in which are concerned about potential war crimes and not even potential, that the activities in Gaza amount to a war crime, presumably genocide. That information gets known to us as this debate is going on at the end of 2024, both before and after the election. There is some hints, or at least some reporting, that the Biden administration was worried about the election, that people within the Biden administration were worried about their political future if they went against Israel. But what we do know is that at the beginning, few members of the Biden administration knew as there's a hearing and other things are going on. This is widely distributed amongst the top tier of the Biden national security community or group. They have various meetings in which this is discussed, and at least by the reporting, the Biden administration was trying to figure out a way in which they did not acknowledge this, so that they would not be required under U.S. law to stop the shipments. Yeah. This is consistent with a 2-year, theory that is belied by reality by the top leaders of Biden's national security team, and Blinken is squarely pointed to in this. And I think he's becoming, at least in a lot of the reporting, that it's Blinken and the State Department and the elements of the State Department that were pushing to ignore these war crimes that many argue amounted to genocide, that the State Department lawyers were trying to figure out a way in which they really could work around it. And their reasoning was, well, this isn't our intelligence, it's Israel's intelligence. So if we don't know this, or if we only know this through Israeli intelligence, then we're not required by law to stop the shipments. It's part of a narrative of that administration that believed if you kept Netanyahu close, you could control his slaughter, that some people call a genocide of the Palestinians, and that proved to be a phenomenal failure. And I don't care about domestic politics, although it did have an influence on domestic politics, a failure that I don't see anyone trying to explain in the Biden administration. Anyone, Blinken sort of gives a throwaway quote in this article, or anyone trying to come to terms for the Democratic Party about what they did and what they allowed during that and in particular, that second year after the attacks. And I, for one, a party member, a proud party, card-carrying member, once again, am in the we need to stop protecting this establishment because it did not serve U.S. interest well, let alone the Palestinians.
Well, this is one circumstance where the Biden administration benefits from Trump.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much going on. I'm not defending, but this is not a story that the average person is focused on.
Right. But I think it's important because
it's hugely important.
The Democratic National Security Establishment served poorly the foundations of what I believe are the Democratic Party, and for reasons that they should account for either now or later. I've been insisting on this, but part of it is personal, and I'll be honest about this. For people like me who came out both anti-Hamas, please. I mean, I've been in counterterrorism. I don't have to defend myself that that whether I'm anti-Hamas or not, and condemning the terror attacks. And by December, saying this is not looking like a counterterrorism effort, and then later on, arguing that this is Netanyahu untethered from morality at this stage, seeing what was happening in Gaza, to be called names by the administration, to be shunned, to be infantilized. There's a lot of us on the outside, and you hear them in the commentary on this, people with much bigger names than mine saying, you know what, like maybe you should have listened. Maybe you should have listened.
What was incredible, too, that we had colleges and universities all over the country shutting down students who wanted to protest in favor not of Hamas,
yes, of course,
but for what was happening
deporting,
to their
not just shutting down.
Their family members or friends and family in Gaza. And we all went, we would get text constantly. Anytime you mention anything, you were an anti-Semite because you were concerned about the slaughter in Gaza.
And I at least had the professional backing to say, I know what a counterterrorism effort looks like, and this is not it. But it was an administration that we want to hear it. The irony, of course, is now what many of the students, I admit there was anti-Semitism in the student movement. I meant there were crazies in it who might have supported Hamas, although those were hard to find. It was the student movement was ahead of was correct.
Yeah, and people were not able to graduate. There were all sorts of penalties.
But anyway,
it's like we lost our marbles.
Yeah, and the idea. Look, I can condemn Trump and I can condemn Biden on Gaza at the same time. My heart is full of condemnation for Gaza, for what happened to the Palestinians.
Agreed. Juliette, good to see you. Be well.
Thank you, Juliette.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Juliette Kayyem, former Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security under Barack Obama, the Faculty Chair of Harvard's Kennedy School of Government's Homeland Security Program, and a CNN Senior National Security Analyst. Thank you, Juliette. Coming up after a quick break, we're going to lighten this baby up here. We're going to open the lines to talk about the humble potato. How do you feel about baked potatoes? Are they part of your daily regimen? The Potato and You is next. 877-301-8970. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. Listening to BPR and 89.7 GBH live from Brighton. Streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
I'm Arun Roth. Coming up on GBH's All Things Considered, a new report paints a troubling picture on housing in Greater Boston. The northern lights were visible all over Massachusetts last night and could be visible again tonight. And the International Space Station has been orbiting Earth for 25 years. A look at its celestial journey and all the day's news starting at 4 on GBH 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And GM Roth Design Remodeling. Dreams delivered. With custom kitchens, bathrooms, and additions. Serving New England for over 39 years. Learn more at gmroth.com. And Atlantic Design Center by Eldridge Lumber and Hardware, committed to helping you achieve your vision for a new kitchen or bathroom and guiding you from design to completion with showrooms in York and Portland, Maine. AtlanticDesignCTR.com.
Welcome back to BPR. Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy. We're streaming youtube.com/GBH News. I think it's almost our last apology for leaving you in the lurch with the library today. Technical issues arose at the last minute. Our apologies. We're pretty convinced we'll be back there on Friday. And next week, on the 18th, we have the mayor with us for an hour, and the following day, the 19th, Yo-Yo Ma joins us. Rest of the show belongs to you. We're opening the lines to talk about potatoes. Now, if you've ever listened to the show, you know that Marjorie Egan is a baked potato queen.
I am.
She's actually a boiled potato queen, too, when it comes to sandwiches. In any form, she loves them. And I think I can say this with Marjorie's consent. We know that love for root vegetables isn't just an Irish. She had last night. Remember this? She dreamed that she and her partner were Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. That's a little odd to me. Ryan Landry, our buddy from the Gold Dust Orphan, regularly refers to me and Marjorie as potato heads as well. And there we are. So the lines are open at 877-301-8970. Potatoes and you. Baked, Hasselback, au gratin, roasted, grilled, fried. There's really no preparation when a potato does not shine. What's your favorite form of potato? Are you aware that potatoes are actually good for you in limited quantities? And if you don't fry them or shove a ton of sour cream and butter on them, they're actually good for anti-immune purposes and other things. So all things potato, 877-301-8970. You should say something, because obviously it's something you care a lot about.
Well,
potatoes, that is.
I do. I mean, who doesn't like a baked potato? The great thing about baked potatoes is they're so easy. You know, you just clean them up. I always wash them.
Well, let's hear how you do it. Go ahead.
I scrub them really well.
That's good. You,
of all people.
I taught you.
Since you are not an Irishman, gave me a great suggestion.
You know where I got that from? Roger Berkowitz told me what to do.
Okay. You rub oil on them, olive oil on them.
All around.
And then you put nice salt on them.
Not fine salt either.
Grated salt.
No, larger grains of salt.
Yeah, that you have to grate.
Exactly. You can do that. Yeah, or you buy it that way.
The grated salt,
and then you cover them with that thing. Obviously, you have to poke a few holes. Heaven.
Yeah, you got to poke the hole. I don't cover them up. I just put them right on a cooking sheet. And
what do you mean cover them up?
You said cover them up. You don't have to cover them up.
I said cut them, punch holes in.
Oh,
I didn't
punch
mean
holes.
cover. If I said that, I didn't mean that.
And then you put them in the oven, depending on how, 400 degrees, 425. You don't have to do anything.
One of our colleagues, Jamie, said, "What is grated salt exactly?" Marjorie means
it's thick salt that you have to grate in a grater.
A grinder, we call it, not a grater.
Oh, a grinder. Whatever it is.
Okay, thick salt.
I'm doing the
not fine salt. I know, but not everybody's watching you, Marjorie.
And that's what you do, and then it's easy. But then you have a whole assortment of options to what to put on top of it. Now you can just do the butter thing. The butter's not as healthy. By the way, they're really healthy for you.
Depending on what you put on it.
Well, if you just stick with the plain old potato, stoke your energy, support a healthy immune system, have more potassium than a banana, and apparently they're very good for your skin. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. The skin is what's really good for you.
You got
the
that
skin
backwards.
Of the potato. Yeah, it isn't really good for your skin, although it probably is good for your skin,
too. If you rub it on your
too.
skin, it's probably good.
But this person,
I love the skin. Do you believe some people don't eat the skin?
I love the skin.
The crispy skin on a potato?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, that's the thing about your method with the olive oil.
You can eat the skin. It's fabulous.
It makes it really, really good. And so what I do is I eat the inside of the potato first, and then I put additional toppings on the skin. And
that makes it unhealthy. You know that. Can I tell you what the best healthy topping is?
Olive oil.
No. Well, that's good. But the best healthy topping, which is unusual, salsa. Salsa on a baked... Don't make a face at me. Salsa... You're still making a face. Salsa on a baked potato. You put a little pepper on it.
Yeah.
That's healthy. You put a lot of pepper on it. You put... No. Okay,
not
Marjorie obviously is butter and sour cream and everything else unhealthy. How about some cheese and bacon while you're at
Cheese.
Yeah, but you can't say at the beginning of the segment it's healthy
what the
and
best
then
thing
say
of all,
put
though?
sour cream, butter, bacon, and cheese on it. Really?
Baked stuffed potatoes.
Why don't you put some lard on that baby too?
I'm not much of a cook, but I do this for my Christmas Eve dinner. You take the insides of the potato out after you've cooked them, then you kind of turn them into mashed potatoes.
That's called a twice-baked potato.
That's right. Heavy cream, a lot of butter. And then you put that back in,
that's
you
really
stuff
good
them,
for you.
and then you cook them in the oven. You might put a little Parmesan cheese on top of that so it's melted, a little browned in the oven. I tell you, I could live for days just eating baked stuffed potatoes.
I learned I have a few factoids that I learned this morning. I don't know if you read this, so I'll ask you a quiz and see if you did. How many pounds a year does the average American eat of potatoes?
25.
That's wrong.
What?
50. A pound a week. Think about this a minute. The average American eats a pound. You know what the problem is? The bulk of what they eat is not healthy at all. They eat French fries. And obviously, if it's deep fried, I told you I bought an air fryer a couple of weeks ago. air-fried, fried, what are they called? French fries.
Yep.
Fabulous, by the way. Far less unhealthy. Is that right? Far less unhealthy, far fewer calories.
We have a lot of potato enthusiasts
What are they saying?
texting in.
We'll get to your
Bob
polls
from
in a minute.
Vermont says, the number of baked potatoes I put down in a year would destroy a lesser man. Marjorie, I salute you. Thank you, Bob.
What a wonderful person that
And
is.
Seth Rhode Island has a great recipe here.
What is it?
Okay, here's the best potato
Margie
recipe
burp
ever.
in the air.
In a baking dish layer, you mash the potatoes, then fresh basil leaves, sliced tomato, mozzarella, topped with an additional thin layer of mashed. Bake at 350
That's
for
pretty
30
great.
minutes, then broil for 3. It comes out hot as Hades, so you have to wait a while to eat it. That does sound great. I have
No,
to
you
write
didn't read
this
the end
down.
of the recipe. Then add a pound of cheese and 2 pounds of butter, and you're fine. That actually is a healthy potato recipe. Basil,
Yeah.
potato, nothing horrible in that thing.
Parsley potatoes. Boil the chunks until soft and then drain. While still hot, add lots of decent olive oil, salt, pepper, maybe some lemon juice, then lots of fresh parsley.
I'd like to say something, if I may.
What?
One of the most depressing experiences I've ever had when I really want a potato, like I want mashed potatoes,
Yep.
or just boiled potatoes, you slice them, you whatever, is when you overcook them.
Can't
and they're
do that.
mushy.
Can't
and
do
it's
that.
so how depressing is it? Because you spent all that time,
Yeah.
you don't have any more potatoes, and you ruined it. I mean, it's really, is that upsetting to you, or you don't care about that?
No, it's true. You don't want to overcook
You don't want to overcook
You have
them.
to be very careful.
Very careful.
Very careful with the mashed
Okay,
potatoes.
so it's all anything expertise, sort of.
Yeah.
And so if you have any potato questions, Marjorie would be happy to entertain them. What
Well,
are you
the most
laughing at?
important thing is it doesn't get much easier than baked potatoes, does it? I mean, there's nothing to do but clean them and stick them in the oven.
Can I say one more thing about a baked potato? This is before I bought my air fryer a few weeks ago. To save time and make them even better, I think I told you this. You slice a potato in half lengthwise. Do exactly what Roger Berkowitz told me, is you put olive oil all over the thing and salt it. And you put the cut side down on aluminum foil. And not only do they cook in about 15 fewer minutes, but the cut side, meaning the actual meat of the flesh of the potato, comes out crispy.
It does?
It is spectacular.
Maybe I should try that.
Yeah,
Because they do
slice
take a
them in
long
half
time to
lengthwise.
cook. It take you a good hour to cook them
Yeah,
sometimes.
this is a good 42-minute thing, and it's spectacular. Let's talk to Buster in the car. We're talking potatoes, Buster. What are you bringing to the table, so to speak? Hi.
Hi. So I hate potatoes.
Oh, good. I'm glad you
And
called. Go.
I find you potato people very judgmental. Whenever I bring it up,
Yeah.
I get asked 800 questions to it, like potato chips, no. French fries, no. Potatoes are awful. There's one semi-decent potato product, and that's the tater tot.
Well, tater tot.
Tater tots?
No, tater tot is fabulous. What was that movie, that great movie with the tater tots in it? Napoleon Dynamite? Yeah, with
I
Napoleon
don't know.
Dynamite.
I'm not even sure what a tater tot
Tater
is.
tot is a little tiny fried potato, like a little. Now, why do you like the tater? Go ahead.
I'm curious as to why Marjorie doesn't. I thought, Marjorie, you knew everything about the potato. You don't know tater tots?
That's a
No,
very
I know
good
the name
observation,
tater
Buster.
tot,
That's
but
very
I don't
good.
think I've ever had a tater tot. I guess I'm
Yes, you have.
deprived. but
Yes,
I
you
have.
have. Yes, you. I mean, really, that's like embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Tater
Well, a lot
tots
of
are
my
very
life
popular
is
for
embarrassing.
school lunches.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Can I tell you, you sort of outed Marjorie, Buster. Thank you very, very much
Yeah, and
for
you've brought,
your call.
You've elicited a great text as well from
Go
a
ahead.
texter who
Go
says,
ahead.
tater tot. That's what Harriet Heinemann called Jim in Hebrew school.
Okay, it's not that funny.
You cute little tater
I
tot
was.
across
She
the room.
actually did. She called me other things too, but that's a whole other thing. So here's Suze from Cranston, who's on the same page as I am. Air fryer, triple exclamation mark. Scrub potato, a bit of olive oil, not a bit. You cover the thing in olive oil. Sprinkle with salt. It's got to be. I came up with a word. Coarse salt is the word we were looking for. Not fine. Crisp skin, fluffy inside. Amazing. A baked potato. It really is heaven. Despite what that first guy said, Buster.
It's very soothing. It's comfort food. It's definitely comfort food.
Do you really not know what a tater tot is?
No, maybe.
Your kids not eat tater tots
I
when they were
don't
little?
think so.
Yes,
I don't
they
think
did.
so.
Trust me, they did.
They ate a lot of baked potatoes, Jim.
They did?
That's what they ate.
Little kids don't
Mashed
like potatoes, do
baked-
they?
Yes, my
They
children.
do?
They loaded them with butter and salt. So that's. Oh, we have a picture.
No,
Okay.
those aren't tater tots.
They're not?
No, they're not. They're little smiley potatoes,
Okay.
which is really
You know what makes a
smiley
difference,
fries.
too, I've discovered late
What?
in life?
What?
High-quality olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
I've just been buying regular olive oil until I went to a Christmas store and bought a bunch of expensive olive oil. It's on my street in Brookline.
You know where some of the best I've had? Zoe, our colleague, was in Greece. She brought back a little
They have
olive
Greek
oil.
olive oil. They have Greek,
Fabulous.
Italian, and
Fabulous.
California olive oil.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new experience.
Yeah, I mean, olive oil is great, but a pound of butter. I mean, you can't, when it comes down to it, if you want something really healthy and really good
Isn't
for
butter
you.
one of the great foods of all time?
It is. And can you explain to me-
everything is better with butter.
I know that's not our topic,
Mhm.
but what's with the unsalted whole thing? What is that about? Is that a baking? We should have asked Tom Papa about that.
You know,
Why would you use unsalted butter? Because you have a sodium problem?
I don't
or-
know. I always get unsalted butter.
No, you don't.
I do.
Why do you get it? You have no idea.
Because I can't tell the difference between salted and unsalted butter, so I figure, what the hell? I'm eating so much salt elsewhere, maybe not have the salt in this. It's like unsalted Teddy's peanut butter. I get that too, and you know what it is?
No.
Just as good as the salted.
By the way, anonymous texter, this is getting scandalous because this is just not true. He's saying Harriet Heinemann also called Jim her lovely Latka. That is not. It's simple. It's just not true. And I'm not going to tolerate
You have
that.
to write these things down. We're on the hunt for Harriet
You know,
Heinemann.
somebody, Nicole said, our colleague, I love potatoes. Peru is the origin of the potato with over 4,000 native varieties, and they do taste so fresh over there and different. But you know what I learned today?
What?
You know what the potato originally derived from? I don't know if that's a proper verb. The tomato. Did you read that story?
I read that story.
The potato
Years
was
ago,
once a
they got
tomato.
Together. Yeah, it's a 9 million year old tomato.
Okay, fine.
It combines, so it's been around for a
Do
long time.
people know what Mr. Potato Head is? Do the kids
doll.
still do that? No, it's not a doll.
They have in the store. Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not a doll. You get a potato, like a baked potato, like a russet potato, and you get little pieces, like a head, that you stick into the potato.
Usually people go to they go to the toy store and buy Mr. Potato Head.
They do?
He's a plastic
They don't use
toy,
a real
Jim.
potato?
I don't think so.
I did when I was a kid.
Well, okay, things have
Ben
we've
invented the
advanced.
potato when I was young.
Somewhat.
Eliza in Cape Cod.
He had his lips and eyes,
Exactly.
a little hat, little shoes.
Little hat, little whatever.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
He's
Mr. Potato Head. He's
looks
got a
pretty
mustache.
fine.
Looks a little suspicious.
Eliza in Cape Cod, we're talking potatoes. Welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Excellent.
Wonderful. Okay, so one of my best friends, after she turned 21, she decided I never want to throw like a real party. After that, she started throwing potato parties because she loves potatoes. So on her birthday, no presents, only potatoes. So if you can't cook, you can bring a bag of potato chips. If you can cook, you make some kind of dish that has to have a potato
That's
in it or
fabulous.
featured in some way. She just loves potatoes so much. So my first year, I was not very experienced with potatoes. So I made latkes because that was family stuff.
Well, that's pretty great.
So then after that, I made poutine. And then a few years after that, I made like a pave, very fancy.
I don't know what
Took me,
pave is.
2
Wait,
years to
what's
learn.
pave? What's pave?
Pave is like, they quote 1,000 potatoes. It's like these teeny slices of potatoes. It's a French
God.
dish. Pave meaning like, I think, cornerstone in French. So it's like a little slice of 1,000 potatoes. So you slice them very, very thin, and then you
Heaven.
cook them with lots of butter. It's outrageous. Google it when I'm off the phone.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, so what a great idea to just be like, I don't want a present. I want potatoes. Just
Eliza,
give me
your
potatoes.
spirit
Like, I
So
love it.
everybody
excellent.
shows
Thank
up
you.
at the party,
With a
Eliza.
potato dish.
That's a great
It's a
idea.
great- you should do that.
Maybe that's what I'll do.
and
Yeah.
There's such a range. Like, if you can't cook, just bring a bag of potato chips. But if you can cook, bring something else.
Eliza,
what's
you were
great,
fabulous.
too?
Thank you.
Potatoes Anna. Those like
I never had that.
thinly
What's that?
sliced potatoes.
That's
They're
what she's
thin-
talking about.
Yeah, they're
Potato
thinly sliced.
pave.
Yeah, potato.
Like almost chip thin.
Yes. And then, of course, au gratin potatoes with
Fabulous.
cheese.
Good for you, too.
Oh, my God.
Do you know that one time, I've only tried to make French fries once in my whole life and before I got an air fryer, and I told you, I almost burnt down the house. I mean, when you drop them in the oil, if you don't know what you're doing, the flame like goes in the next room kind of thing. It's like a Michael Jackson experience. So we have sound. This is actually pretty impressive. Of Mr. Potato Head. Did you know Mr. Potato Head was in Toy Story? Did you know that?
Now that I'm reminded, I remember.
Okay, so
having
here's
seen it
Mr. Potato Head
several
from
times.
Toy Story, played by a comedian who a lot of you probably never heard of, Don Rickles. Here it is.
I'm packing you an extra pair of shoes and your angry eyes, just in case. And if you get hungry, here's some cheese puffs and a key. I don't know what it's for, but you're never in a golf ball. It's if you have time for golf, and a plastic steak, and a rubber ducky, and a yo-yo.
That was Don Rickles? That was really Don Rickles? I don't think so. In any case, Hannah, our colleague, asked a very good question that I think you'd know the answer to. Is Mr. Potato's wife Mrs. Potato, or does she have her own last name?
I think she's just Mrs. Potato.
Mrs. Potato.
Yeah,
That's
very
sort of
sexist.
sad.
Very
It really
sexist.
is.
Yeah. A texter wants to know, they know that Harriet Heinemann, that called Jim is her little tater tot in Hebrew school, was a shot putter.
She was not a shot putter. You said she was.
And
she wasn't. She wasn't a shot putter.
And she's curious, the texter is, how far Harriet might throw a standard Idaho-style baking potato, Jim.
You see me laughing right here? I don't think so. Okay, Amos.
Or her little latke.
Okay, she didn't say that. So why you repeat it? Now it's twice you've said it, and she didn't say it at all. Amos in Plymouth.
He's my tater tot.
We're talking potatoes. Welcome, Amos. How are you?
Hi there, guys. How are you, Jim, Marjorie?
Great.
I'm
extraordinary.
First-time caller. I don't know if you remember me, but we talked extensively, especially during the Biden administration. But anyway, I think this is a great subject to be talking about.
It is.
Potatoes, especially with the prices of groceries going up. It's been a staple in England and in Ireland for centuries, and we call them jacket potatoes. And we've even got little trucks that you can go out to, in the street where they just go out and it's, still popular as ever. And we've got great jacket potatoes, incredible recipes that we should definitely be passing along.
Do you know this?
'Cause we might be needing it.
No, but what's a jacket potato?
Go ahead.
Tell us.
So it's a baked potato like what we get, but they leave the skin on, and then they'll slice it, and we've got tons of different recipes. One particular favorite of mine is you put good butter in there, you mash it all up, and then you get Heinz baked beans, and you put bacon bits over it.
Oh, yeah.
Or you've got chili con carne, where you put that on top of it, chives and cheese and onions and stuff like that. There's millions, and I'll tell you what, it's delicious.
Oh.
People line up to buy it.
And as you point
it's
out,
easy enough to make it at home.
Amos, that's
cheap.
a beautiful
They're
description
cheap too, right? Potatoes are pretty cheap.
They are pretty cheap.
Yeah. So
yeah. And when they get the really big ones, they're not like they're larger size potatoes, so you get a great portion out of them. There's there's a lot of guys online. If you go, especially on Facebook, and these reels that you see there, you see all these English blokes. And they've got their little trucks, and they go out there, and they've people lining up left, right, and center. And I think it's a great thing, especially if we're depending on where we're going with the prices of groceries being high as they are. So it's a great thing to us to
Amos,
talk
that was
about.
an excellent call, and thanks for sharing that info that even Marjorie wasn't aware of.
I wasn't aware of it. I'm not an expert on potatoes.
Do you ever think you'd learn anything about potatoes in this discussion that you didn't know?
I just like to eat them, and as I've said a million times, it's hard to go wrong with the potato.
Now,
you just feel it. You just feel it, and you know it's soft.
Actually, it's not hard for Dan Quayle to go wrong with the potato.
That's right.
This is former Vice President Dan Quayle. This is legendary. Schooling an elementary student on how to spell potato. This is in 1996. He asked this kid in the classroom, remember this, to spell potato on the chalkboard. The kid does correctly, but Quayle thinks something is missing, namely the letter E. Do you remember that, Marjorie? Here's a clip of that incident, a courtesy of ABC News Archive. Here it is.
Try one more time. Down a little bit to the end there. Spell that again now. A little bit on the end. Think of potato. How's it? You're right phonetically, but what else? There you go. All right.
That was excellent sound. I have no idea what he said either, but he told the kid to add an E at the
Yeah.
end, kind of thing. It was very sad.
Yeah, he was a little confused there.
Remember what he said about the United Negro College Fund slogan? What a waste it is to lose one's mind or not to have a mind at all. How true that is. That's what Dan Quayle said was the motto of the United Negro.
Yeah, he did tell
Negro
Mike
College
Pence
Fund.
to stand up to Trump.
He did.
Though.
That is correct.
Yeah, so we'll give him that.
By the way, we apparently have a poll or something on YouTube. 59%, I'm a little shocked it's that low, of our YouTube viewers believe Mr. Potato is attractive. I wouldn't call him attractive. Would you call him
Can
attractive?
we put up his picture one more time with that
On the
suspicious
screen.
mustache?
Oh, he's up
he
there.
wears?
He's on the turn around. You can see right now. There he is. He looks good, I think. No, he does. He looks fine. Looks fine. He's a little short on body. A lot of head.
It's so
and
funny to watch the kids. They get all the body parts in the wrong places. It's pretty funny to watch
Susan.
the whole thing.
Exactly. Susan Framingham, welcome to the show. We're talking potatoes. Hi.
Hi there. Hello, Jim. Hello, Marjorie. And hello, John Parker.
Oh, how nice.
Just had to give a shout out to him.
We love John.
To recommend. He's great.
Yeah.
I was calling to recommend using yogurt instead of sour cream.
Great idea.
Which is great.
Yep, I've done that.
I also had to say, since Jim mentioned almost burning down his house cooking French fries, I actually did burn my house down when I was a kid cooking French fries.
That's not true.
Absolutely true. Destroyed the kitchen, most of the dining room. I got all the cats out, got the dogs out, got my dad out. And then I went into hiding for a while.
How old were you?
Wait a minute. So you had the...
Wait, how old were you?
I was probably about 15 or 16.
Wow, go ahead, Marjorie.
Okay, so how did this happen? You had the fries with the oil, and then the flame came up.
That's what happened to me, too.
From the pan?
Yeah. What happened was we had just moved into the house. The stove was underneath where the staircase kind of comes down, and there was no fan. And I put on the oil. I went upstairs to change, and as I smelled smoke, and as I came down, there were already flames coming out of the kitchen.
Oh my God! And how long before the firefighters got there?
They were pretty fast, and they ended up having to drag me out of the house because I kept going back in, grabbing cats and throwing them outside.
Oh, that's nice. How are the potatoes, by the way?
I never died. They just didn't survive the fire. They were a little torched.
That's a really painful story. Suze, thank you. I hope everything is okay with the family and everything after that.
Yeah, that's...
Burning down the house is like a bit much.
Yeah.
I'm telling, when I say that the flames, what's the verb for what flames do?
They rose.
Rose, thank you. 3 plus... At least 3 feet out of the Dutch oven that I was cooking. It was the first time I ever tried to make French fries. And it was rather traumatic for me and the fries.
That's like the stories about people at Thanksgiving trying to do the frying thing with their turkey.
Deep frying
in the backyard.
Turkey, yeah. And
there's been a lot of bad incidents there where the backyard has exploded.
Suze burnt down her next house after that. After the French fry incident, she tried doing a turkey. By the way, I've never had a deep fried turkey for Thanksgiving. I'm told it's spectacular. You ever had one?
No, I haven't.
And by the way, I hate to quarrel with Suze since she had such misfortune. You agreed with her. The notion that yogurt can replace...
It's good.
No, it's adequate. It is not sour cream.
You get the Greek yogurt. You get the Greek yogurt, and it's protein. That's why it matters, because it keeps you full for a long time. There's not a lot of protein in a potato, although it raises your energy level, healthy immune system, but doesn't give you protein.
And by the way, I don't remember what it was. There's something about the energy level thing, that the energy boost it gives you lasts for a long time. There's some chemical reason for that, but I don't know. Okay, so let's guess.
It has to do with the glycemic index,
which is our favorite pastime. Let's guess how many potatoes. The average American eats a pound of potatoes a week. I would say Jared eats a third of an ounce of a potato a week. Is that accurate or no?
That's probably true.
By the way, something's wrong with that mic. Maybe you're turning around or something.
Well, the last time I moved the mic, I moved yours.
I know, but it's fine now. But there's something wrong with the mic anyway. Oh, it's turned around. The front is in the back.
Oh, here.
There it is. Thank you very much.
Is this thing on?
This is good. So where are you in the potato? I'm very curious.
I love French fries, and I love mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Who do you think makes the best French fries?
Well, that's a good question.
Thank you. That's why I asked the question. Yeah.
I don't know.
By the way, I want you to know, if you look at the video, Maddie, who is running the stream, has done brilliant work today. And if you're watching the streaming on YouTube, you have Jared Bowen, that's the one guy there.
Yep.
You have Jim Browdy, that's me, referring to myself in the third person. Marjorie Egan, and most importantly, the fourth slot, may I call it that?
Yes.
Is Mr. Potato.
A real spud, says the HD guy on YouTube.
He is a real spud.
A real spud.
Okay, so you provided virtually no
information. Maddie did close-ups of our toilet paper rolls.
Well, what is a truffle fry?
A fry with truffle and Parmesan on it.
Yeah, but truffles are really expensive.
I feel really bad about saying this with Mr. Potato Head, because we're basically talking about peeling him and eating him.
You know, let me just say, of all the things...
He's not happy about it.
The thin potato thing, the pave that woman described taken to the party, or the au gratin, or whatever that thing is, with the really thin...
Potatoes Anna.
No.
What's that called? Did someone just say this in my ear?
Potatoes Anna.
Oh, a potatoes Anna.
I think so.
Okay, whatever it is. We provided virtually no useful information in that segment, but that's not atypical for us.
We're getting a lot of
we're not reading. No, I'm
love when my producers come in and they say, guess what the talker is today? Potatoes.
Exactly. Don't read these. I'm serious. Don't read these texts. Enough for the.
Oh, okay.
Thank God
Jim's
embarrassed.
embarrassed.
I mean, enough. It's you.
Salacious
you
remarks.
said that she called me my little Lockie. She didn't do that.
No, she called you her little tater tot.
Well, that may be true, but that was between us.
Leave me alone.
Exactly. I don't think we should talk about.
Jimmy,
okay, what's
Jimmy.
on? Well, okay, fine. What's on your show?
On the Culture Show today, we're going to be talking about to the Museum of Fine Arts about an 18th century desk and bookcase from Mexico. We've been talking about these pieces that are entwined in the American Revolution, even though it's Mexico. We'll talk about how the Mexican Revolution was entwined with the American one, so we'll talk about that. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is coming to Boston, sitting down for a while. It's going to be here for an entire month, more than a month, actually.
Wow.
And this is the play that takes us 19 years after the books and the films left off. So we're going to be talking to Harry Potter and his son, at least the actors who play them. And then we'll talk to Mahesh Das, the president of Boston Architectural College, about this whole notion of sponge cities, basically bringing the water in, not trying to keep it at bay, because you really can't do that, as we know now, through climate change.
Keep it at bay. It's a good line there.
I didn't even mean it.
Thank you very much.
We should become a sponge city fast.
We should definitely become a sponge city fast.
Yeah, that means canals and that stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here you say goodbye, Jared.
Bye.
No, I mean...
I thought you were giving me a command.
Well, you don't have to, but you should. There's Mr. Potato Head. He'll
There's
be
Mr.
on
Potato
Jared's
Head.
show tomorrow.
Look at him.
2:15.
He looks very unhappy.
Oh, look, now he looks like Jim.
Oh, they're moving together. I mean, this ridicule is totally unprofessional.
Okay, bye.
Okay, goodbye. Listen to his show. Marjorie, move on. You have 1 minute to close the show.
Thank you for listening.
Here she goes. She's going to laugh
to
too hard
another
to do the
edition.
show close.
No, I'm not. I'm okay.
Good, fine.
Thanks you for.
Thanks you.
I'm sorry for the people who
Thanks
went
you
down to the
all
Boston
for
Public
listening.
Library. And keep up with us 24/7 by way of our podcast, our TikTok page at Boston Public Radio, which is really fun, actually. Tomorrow, former New York Times public editor Margaret Sullivan, I adore her. Former Massachusetts Secretary of Public Safety Andrea Cabral, she's not bad either. MIT's John Gruber, another star. And the Curiosity Desk, Edgar B. Herwick III. Plus, the CEO of EdVesters joins us with the principal and student from yet to be an EdVesters, a yet to be announced $100,000 prize-winning Massachusetts school for excellence. Wow.
I'd say well.
I want to thank the crew, Zoe Matthews, Aidan Conley, Nicole Garcia, Hannah Lost, Maddie Gar. Great job, Mr. Potato Head, Maddie. Colin Cockrell ran our YouTube stream as well. Or maybe Colin has something to do with this too. John LaClaw Parker, James Bologna. Culture Show right after us. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.
What's trending?
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And minus 33 merino wool in Ashland, New Hampshire. Since